Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. I am coming to you live from Warren Field in Brookline, Massachusetts. Here to bring you live coverage of this Lou Tompkins All-Star League 18 and under division summer baseball contest between visiting Billerica and hosting Brookline. Fans, we had a fun time covering Brookline's 10-2 win at Everett yesterday, and we're back in action for some back-to-back baseball action here today. And I'm not alone here today. Joining me on this broadcast is my color commentator for today. It is Brookline high-rising sophomore. He joined us for the Cambridge game, I believe, last week. Sam Lowenstein. Sam, thank you for joining me again.
Thanks for having me on this afternoon, Jesse. Brookline 5-1 after ripping off 5 straight wins. Interesting thing, the Brookline Blue actually lost to Billerica in their matchup last season in the Lou Tompkins Summer All-Star League. But, again, Jesse, we talked about this previously before the game, before we got on the mic. These are two very different teams, a lot of new faces for Billerica.
Absolutely. Plenty of new faces stepping up on both sides, and it'll be interesting to see how they handle things. Billerica did get the win over Brookline. The final score in that one, 12-3, an ugly game for Brookline, where their pitchers gave up only 3 earned runs out of 12. That just tells you how sloppy the defense was going in that one. And but we will see how they handle things here today. Let's take a look at the starting lineups coming into this contest as we see Billerica finishing their warm-ups. We'll take a look at their starting lineup for today. Leading off for Billerica, their catcher, number 7. I have first initials and last name. So the catcher, number 7, A. Pimentel. Batting second and starting on the mound for Billerica, number 14, C. Menkowitz. Batting third, the shortstop, number 2, Jay Buckland. Batting cleanup, the center fielder, number 5, Jay Weeks. Batting fifth, the second baseman, number 16, Jay Jamieson. Batting sixth, the third baseman, number 3, C. Pellegrino. Batting seventh, the left fielder, number 10, G. Crisafulli, excuse me. Batting eighth, the first baseman, number 44, T. Wilcox. And batting ninth, the right fielder, number 6, N. Vidal. So that is the lineup for Billerica. They come into this contest with a record of 2-2. Open the season with back-to-back losses, first to Waltham 14-3, then to Everett 7-6, before bouncing back with back-to-back wins, defeating Belmont Watertown 11-1, and defeating Jamaica Plain 5-1. Now let's go over the starting lineup for the Brookline Blue. They come into this game with a 5-1 record, lost the season opener to Newton, but then, as you said, Sam, have rattled off 5 straight wins, including 3 defensive shutouts and 4 games where they scored 10 or more runs. The starting lineup for Brookline today, leading off the right fielder, number 33, Devin Chin. Batting second and starting on the mound for Brookline, number 7, Caden Sheehan. Batting third, the center fielder, number 8, Max Kaufman. Batting cleanup, the third baseman, number 1, Jackson Fantuzzi. Batting fifth, the first baseman, number 16, Noah Klein. Batting sixth, the left fielder, number 5, Jonathan Liu. Batting seventh, the shortstop, number 18, Leo Vankoski. Batting eighth, the catcher, number 0, Max Minukin. Batting ninth, the extra hitter, number 2, Bryce Hellendrung. And batting 10th, the second baseman, number 9, Eli Gewurz. Head coach of the Brookline Blue, 18 and under, Lou Tompkins' summer team, is John Busey. So those are our starting lineups. Our Wi-Fi giving us a little more trouble than usual, honestly, as it's usually very strong out here at Warren. Maybe the heat is causing a little bit of a fritz, but we haven't dropped too many frames so far, so here's hoping that it stays strong. We did have some occasional frame drops in Everett yesterday, but overall it was a strong broadcast, hoping for at least that same thing. We got our first note in the live chat today from Adrian Fricky saying, "Go Brookline and go Eli Gewurz." Happy to see folks dropping into the live chat and tuning in to watch this one as Brookline gets ready to take the field here in the top of the first inning. And taking his spot on the mound for Brookline today is their starter, number 7, Mayfield-Sheehan. He's had just one previous pitching performance for Brookline this year. I think it was the Lowell game. It was either I'm pretty sure it was the Lowell game, as he started, pitched 3 shutout innings, got the pitching win because the game only lasted 5 innings, struck out 8 in that one, finished with a whip of 1.33. And so we'll see how he handles things here today as he gets ready to face the top of the Billerica lineup with Pimentel, Amenkowitz, and Buckland.
Well, Jesse, Sheehan with a lot of strikeouts in that matchup, 8 strikeouts in only 3 innings. We saw Buckles pitch an insane amount of strikeouts in his affair the last time that we were together. So Brookline's pitching, they've been very consistent, getting a lot of strikeouts and just overall being very successful.
That is true, Sam, but you didn't see the game yesterday at Everett as Buckles, the strikeout machine himself, went 5 innings and only struck out 3. So it really does depend on who you're facing that day and how well they can get bat on ball. Brookline has certainly had their fair share of outstanding pitching performances so far this season, but you never know who you might be facing, what kind of hitters they're bringing to the plate, what kind of strike zone the ump might be presenting you with on a given day. So, while Brookline's certainly got a pattern of building mountains of strikeouts, who knows what's going to be in store for them against this Billerica team.
And really, that's the best thing when you really think about it. They're able to be versatile and get outs in different types of ways for Brookline.
Absolutely right, and it'll be interesting to see if it's not a strikeout heavy day, how the defense handles things behind them. Brookline, for the first time this summer, I believe, without veteran infielder Keenan Sawada, as not in the starting lineup, might not be here today, as he's been playing in every game, and so they've got Leo Vankoski manning the shortstop position. Vankoski has primarily played third base. He's played a few games at second, and so we'll see how he handles the shortstop position. Eli Gewurz, another guy who's played a lot of third base. He is completing the middle of the infield, playing second. Jackson Fantuzzi, who has mostly been playing with travel teams this summer, I believe, but he has made one other appearance for this Lou Tompkins squad this summer. This is his second game with them, and he is playing the hot corner. And then all reliable Noah Klein taking his usual spot at first base. But here we go, first pitch of the game, and it's in there for strike 1 to the catcher, number 7, A. Pimentel.
It's a good pitch from Sheehan in there for strike 1. Just important to establish the strike zone early on.
And reaches low, hits a dribbler up the third base side. Fantuzzi charging in, rifles it to first in time for out number 1.
There it seemed like Fantuzzi was able to make the throw while leaning to his right. Nice play there for Brookline. And we talked about the importance of getting groundouts as well as strikeouts. That on display.
Absolutely. Certainly a good tone setter from the infield. A nice charge in, scoop, and throw from Jackson Fantuzzi. Anyone who's seen him play catcher in years past knows he's got a strong arm. Now the first pitch, I think that was the slowest strike signal I think I've ever seen.
Almost looked like a ball to me.
I'm so confused. I don't know what that first pitch was called.
It seemed like a ball, but we'll see.
This one fouled off. I'm waiting to see if the ump holds up a signal. The pitcher, number 14, C. Amenkowitz, at the plate for Billerica here with 1 out and the base empty. And that first pitch was a strike, and so at first he wasn't signaling anything, but then slowly brought up his right hand and pointed for a strike.
Well, that is something. Oh.
And the high heat gets away from Sheehan, maybe too early of a release, maybe, as that one just kind of flew over everyone's heads.
That's what it looked like. It looked like it just popped out of his hand and just flew away.
Yes. But you know what? With no runners on, good time to have one of those pitches get away from you. 1-2, the count to Amenkowitz. Fouls that one to the backstop, stays alive.
Well, it seemed that there he went with a slower fastball rather than revving it up after that mistake pitch. But again, still he's able to keep the hitter on his toes.
Yeah, definitely good when a pitcher is able to change speeds. Still 1-2, 1 out, bases empty. And that one fouled off as he went back to the heat. He's really mixing up his speeds. You know, not mixing up locations as much, but even still, you can see how the speed throws off the timing of the hitter as he kind of swung under that one.
100%. You can see Jackson Fantuzzi coming in, playing in on the right side.
And a high heat catches him whiffing, as that time he doesn't change speeds, he changes locations, going from a low heat to a high heat to get his first K of the day.
And that's so important, Jesse, both switching locations and changing speed. Sheehan able to get first a ground out, now a strikeout, almost like what Ben Cody used to do for Brookline.
Well, Ben Cody was a specialist of making his pitches move. You know, it was he could throw his pitches all over the place because he was a master of the breaking ball. He didn't necessarily change speeds as much as he just always fooled batters with the movement, the intense movement he would put on pitches. That pitch there in the zone. It's going to be a 1-1 count now to the shortstop, number 2, Jay Buckland. And that one spiked in the dirt. You know, we saw Sheehan have one where it was came out of his hand too fast, or too early rather, and sailed over everyone's head. I think that one came out of his hand too late, and he spiked it in the dirt.
100%. But again, Jesse, no runners on. If there's a time to throw a pitch like that, it's the top of the first inning.
Yep, works for me. This one's a high bouncer. Sheehan collects it. Opts to go for the underhand throw. Thought about the tag. And it's funny, if he had, if it wasn't such a clear out and he had hesitated on the tag and gone for the throw on a closer play or something like that, he almost interfered with the runner.
That's what I was thinking. They could have called interference.
Yeah, I think they didn't call it, and I like the non-call there. I know I'm going to have a subtle bias because obviously Brookline's the team paying me to be here. But
the ball was right there.
Yeah, it was right there. You know, the guy was out one way or another.
You could have tagged him too.
You know, it's kind of like when you don't call pass interference on an uncatchable ball in football. You know, it's like, yes, maybe there was technically a violation, or at the very least something borderline to a violation. But, you know, when the play is that cut and dry, you just let the players play.
But also, I personally feel that the ball was right there, so he couldn't do anything but be in the way.
That's true. That is also very true. We move to the bottom of the first with no score so far in this one. Amenkowitz taken to the hill for Billerica. He'll face the top of the Brookline order: Chin, Sheehan, and Kaufman. Like I said, first game for Brookline without Keenan Sawada, who's usually a mainstay at the top of the Brookline order, usually either in the 1 or 2 spot in the batting order, and in fact is the team leader in hits, hit by pitches, steals, and on-base percentage, while tied for the team lead in runs and in a four-way tie for the team lead in doubles, as 4 different Brookline hitters have 2 doubles so far this season. It'll be interesting to see how things handle without the veteran mainstay at the top of the order.
Well, he's been truly all around, and that's been a big thing for Brookline. They have hitters that can do all types of things. Some power guys, some contact guys. A guy like Keenan Sawada, who's missing from the lineup, he can do it all.
Absolutely.
I think Brookline, they're going to have to still perform even in his absence. I believe Brookline will take this one pretty handily, but I think Billerica will still pull up a few runs. And
a bold prediction. Half an inning in. I love it. Leading off for Brookline here in the bottom of the first, the right fielder, number 33, Devin Chin. First pitch from Amenkowitz, skips in the dirt for ball 1. Chin so far this season, he's got a .571 batting average, a .667 on-base percentage, .714 slugging percentage, 7 stolen bases, 7 runs scored, and 2 RBI. Shows bunt, pulls back as he takes ball 2 there.
And really, Jesse, he's the perfect leadoff hitter.
Oh, 100%. Did not play against Billerica last year, as he takes a high ball 3, and now Amenkowitz has got to be careful. This is the last guy you want to give a free pass to, because he can be very dangerous on the bases. But he issues him a 4-pitch walk, and so Brookline gets their fastest runner aboard with minimal effort there. And it'll be
that's the worst possible way to start the game for Billerica.
And now coming up, it'll be pitcher against pitcher. We saw that matchup in the top half. Now we got the reverse here, as both pitchers batting second in the batting order today. At the plate for Brookline, number 7, Mayfield-Sheehan, as that one hits the high corner of his strike zone, strike 1. Sheehan so far this summer with a slash line of .353, .500, .353. 1 steal, 7 runs scored, and 6 RBI. As he takes a high ball 1. Went just 1 for 5 at the plate yesterday at Everett, but made the most of that 1 hit as he got an RBI single and then later came in to score a run. And he did not play against Billerica either last year.
Well, Sheehan, a bit more of a power bat for Brookline, but another all-around guy.
Absolutely. And, you know, while he's on the mound, that's another presence that they certainly miss in the infield, with him being such a veteran stalwart at shortstop. And Amenkowitz, excuse me, checking on Chin at first. Can't blame him with Chin's reputation as a speedster. Chin is taking off as that one comes in low for a ball. Chin slides in. It's a close play. They say they got him. Wow, that was very close, and you know, a bang-bang play, borderline call, but you've got to give a lot of credit to Pimentel on that throw, and I think it was the shortstop Buckland who applied the tag. That was about as point perfect as it could be, and even though Chin didn't have the biggest lead, they still, with his speed, needed to be pretty much perfect on that throw, and they were.
And that second, he was also able to turn around. Just an incredible play, Jesse.
Delayed swing from Sheehan, launches it to left, and that is in fair territory up the left field line. Tracked well out in left by Chris Afuli to hold Sheehan to a single. And so Brookline once again has a runner at first, but now 1 down. And, you know, you can't help but think if Chin hadn't been caught. Whoa, as we almost got another runner caught. Close dive back there for Sheehan.
And that was a Superman dive, Jesse, into first.
Yeah, that was. Hey, in honor of the new movie that just came out, right? At the plate, is the center fielder, number 8, Max Kaufman. And Kaufman having an impressive start to the season so far, as he takes high ball there. I think the count is 1-1. I was looking at my screen due to some slight technical issues for a second there, but I think the count's 1-1 to Kaufman. That one misses. I think, yeah, it's 2-1, I think is the count, unless I'm mistaken. Kaufman, an impressive slash line, 462, 632, and a team-leading 769 slugging percentage as he fouls this one off for strike 2. Tied for the team lead in both doubles and triples, as he's got 2 doubles and 1 triple. 2 steals, and then he's tied for the team lead in both runs and RBI with 8 runs and 7 RBI. That one to the outside, and we've got a full count here to Kaufman, 3-2, with a runner at first and 1 out.
Well, you can see that Sheehan not taking as big of a lead as Chin, but still relatively not all that much less.
And he lines a shot past the third baseman. That's in fair territory up the left field line. Sheehan's trying to stretch it down to third, and he gets there as Max Kaufman picks up his team-leading third 2-bagger of the summer.
Another hit from Max Kaufman. That ups his batting average even more from an average of 462 from before. And when you think about it, Jesse, the guy's getting on over 65% now, what it is.
Yeah, no, but what really impresses me is his slugging. I mean, just yesterday before the Everett game, his slugging percentage was at 900. And now he's got another extra base hit to really help boost those numbers. At the plate now for Brookline is the third baseman, number 1, Jackson Fantuzzi. Like I said, he's only played in 1 game prior, so his batting line so far is just 1 for 1 with a double, a walk, and a run scored as he slices this one out of play for a foul ball, strike 1.
Well, Jesse, if Devin Chin hadn't been thrown out at second, we'd be looking at an even better inning situation for Brookline.
It'd be at least a 1-0 lead.
At least.
That one in the dirt, ball 2 for Fantuzzi. And I mean, even then, you can't blame Brookline for sending their fastest runner to steal. You know, like I said, that's just more a credit to, again, what a perfect throw Pimentel threw from behind the plate and how that literally has now saved a run for Billerica.
A great play, and also, Jesse, we talk about game of probabilities, and there's always a little bit of luck involved.
You got to live with the bounces. 2-1, the pitch now to Fantuzzi. Fouls that one to the backstop, 2-2 the count. Fantuzzi, a guy with a lot of pop in his bat. He's only had 2 plate appearances so far. He has walked once, put 1 ball in play, and that was a double. We'll see what he does here with 2 in scoring position. That one comes in low, and we've got our second straight batter to face a full count for Brookline here in the bottom of the first.
Brookline's been able to work a Menkowitz well, and that makes a big difference, Jesse, as well, when you think about it.
Absolutely. Fantuzzi hits a high bouncer foul up the third base line, and this is more of what we're talking about, Sam, how you build up that pitch count on the starter. Obviously, the ideal is to get runs on the board, but even still, you're making progress on a longer-term goal of exhausting the opposing hurler. Count still full. And another foul ball. Fantuzzi continues to stay alive. Couldn't time up that breaking ball just right, but still got a piece of it.
But at the same time, Menkowitz's stuff hasn't been able to fool Brookline's hitters, and that's made a difference. A lot of these pitches that could be strikeouts, they just end up being foul balls and prolonging the count.
So far, the only out Billerica's gotten was on the caught stealing. And Fantuzzi launches one out to right, and that one is going to bounce past the right fielder. Fantuzzi going to clear the bases, and he's going to try for 3, and he is going to get there. Jackson Fantuzzi making noise with a 2-run triple to right.
Boy, does that one pay off. Jesse, Jackson Fantuzzi slugging it out to right field, and he hits it over the head of the right fielder to drive in a 2 RBI triple.
And boy, you talk about absurd slugging percentages. Obviously, I'm not going to show a slash line for a guy who's only had 3 plate appearances, but 2 for 2 with a double and a triple, that ain't bad. Noah Klein pops up. The first pitch he sees, that will be out number 2 as he pops it out in foul territory. And now coming up with 2 down and a runner at third is the left fielder, number 5, Jonathan Liu.
Jonathan Liu, another guy with a great slash line, 417, 533 OBP, 417 slugging percentage, 4 runs, and 7 RBIs. When you look at a lot of these Brookline slash lines, with a couple exceptions, a lot of them are over at least 300.
It's been a real offensive show this summer for this Brookline squad. Like we said, 4 of their 6 games so far, they put up double digits on the scoreboard. 1-1 the count to Liu. Delayed swing fouls that one off as Brookline, again, not able to perfectly time up that breaking ball, but still gets a bat on it. Fantuzzi at third, 1-2 the count to Jonathan Liu with 2 down here in the bottom of the first. Brookline already up 2-0. As Liu fouls that one off.
So we just get some comments in the chat.
Absolutely. That one inside. Got away. I think there was a bit of confusion. Fantuzzi didn't really jump on that one. He's not the fastest runner, so that might just be the factor of not going too aggressively, but also it seemed like there was some confusion about whether it was a dead ball or not.
Also, the fence itself, not all that far back.
That's also true.
Here at Warren.
Liu lines that one, but it curves right of the line for another foul ball. He stays alive at 2-2.
Still a lot of these pitchers that could be strikeouts. We talked about Buckles and the performance he had. A lot of these pitchers, they're just being fouled off.
That breaking ball just missed. Dropped off the table and might have come in outside. Ball 3, another full count here.
It's yet another one after a quick out against Klein.
And this one fouled off as Liu stays live. And you're right, it's 3 of the last 4 hitters have battled their way to a full count against Amenkowitz in Kaufman, Fantuzzi, and now Liu.
That just makes a huge difference.
Another foul ball. Bit of a late swing, but Liu still got a piece of it.
That one looked like it came off the catcher's body. As well, just a foul tip nearly into the catcher's glove.
And that one's going to skip away, and that's ball 4. Ricochets right back to the catcher. Absolutely no chance for Fantuzzi to try and advance, but the inning continues as Jonathan Liu draws a free pass.
And even Jesse with Fantuzzi, not the fastest runner on third base, still a great opportunity for Brookline.
First pitch in the zone, strike 1, and a big opportunity for Leo Vankoski, who's coming off a very big day at Everett yesterday. 3 for 3 with a walk, a run scored, and 2 RBI as he fouls that one in and out of the catcher's glove for strike 2.
He's another hot hitter.
Absolutely. A team-leading .583 batting average coming into today. .667 on base, .583 slugging, 3 runs scored, and 6 RBI. Up here with runners on the corners and 2 out. Swing and a miss. Can't time up the fastball. And he goes down on 3 quick strikes. And that brings the first inning to an end. But Brookline able to put on pressure and make some noise on the scoreboard. Our score at the end of 1, Brookline 2, Billerica 0.
Well, a solid inning for Brookline after at the beginning Devin Chin got on base after a walk, after a 4-pitch walk, and then he was thrown out trying to steal second base. Devin Chin, normally a play that he would succeed in, a great base stealer and a speed demon, on the base pass after that, Brookline got a couple more base runners before Jackson Fantuzzi drove in on a 2 RBI triple, and then the inning sort of gradually came to a close after a couple more at bats. But the Brookline Blue on top 2-0 after one. Jesse, Brookline able to set the tone after the first inning. We'll see how they do here in the second.
Absolutely. We mentioned before we got a couple more notes in our live chat here. One from each fan base here, as we've got a Billerica fan in the live chat, Connor Pimentel, saying go Billerica. Assumes some relation to the Billerica catcher who had that fantastic throw down to second, which is the reason this is a 2-0 game instead of a 3-0 game. And then, of course, one of our regulars, Barbara Jo Metzger, saying go Brookline from Grandma in really hot Buffalo, New York, as this heat wave that we're dealing with here in the Northeast, it's hitting everywhere, even Buffalo.
Even Buffalo. Buffalo's normally cold.
Yes.
Real cold.
Indeed, but boy, you hit the summer, and
I mean, it's not 100 and stupid, but it's hot.
Yeah, it was 100 and stupid in my car when I first got in my car to drive down here. You know how sometimes cars, they have that display on them, like the thermometer that's like, this is the quote-unquote outside temperature, and really what it means is this is how hot the outside of the car is after absorbing all of that sunlight.
Oh, definitely.
And it read like 103 when I first got in the car.
That's crazy.
Oh, my God. It was bringing me back to the days when I used to work out in Western Kentucky, and I would be going out to summer baseball games out there. Boy, every day of summer was like this.
Man, when I was visiting West Virginia and we were on our trip, at one point the car said it was 113 outside.
Oh,
it wasn't,
stop. but
for that split
outside
second,
of the
it was
outside
that
of the
hot.
car, the outside of the car, which again transfers over to the inside of the car, which translates to, I'm dying in here.
And technically that is 100 and stupid, because technically that's 110 plus.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that there was a specific number for 100 and stupid. This is a hard grounder, and it could not be collected by Gewurz. Tough backhand grab, could not corral it as the center fielder, number 5, Jay Weeks, reaches on what's either an infield single or an E4. I would personally score it an E4, but I'll, double check with Game Changer later tonight.
That one just a tough play for Gewurz. Tried to adjust and just wasn't able to make it.
Now at the plate, the second baseman, number 16, Jay Jamieson. Swing and a miss there, strike one. Haven't been seeing a lot of familiar names on this Billerica lineup from last year's game, but last year there was a player named Ryan Jamieson, perhaps an older brother. As this one comes in below the knees for ball one. Runner at first, nobody out here in the top of the second. Brookline leading Billerica 2-0 off that thunderous 2-run triple from Jackson Fantuzzi. This one coming in high for ball two. Sheehan changing up the height and locations of his pitches, but not hitting the zone the last couple.
He's mostly just shifted it high and low, as we see low there.
And that one gets away from his catcher, and the wild pitch gives a free base to Weeks as he moves up to scoring position, while that will also be ball three.
And Jesse, the interesting thing is that Sheehan, his pitchers, they haven't been left to right a lot. He's been mostly just adjusting high and low in the zone.
Grounder here, fielded clean by Gewurz as he rebounds nicely off the error and gets the 4-3 ground out for the first out of the inning. Weeks does advance to first, so it works like a sacrifice play.
Or third.
Yeah, moving up to third. Thank you. So a runner at third, one out. Now up the third baseman, who's also wearing number 3, C. Pellegrino.
That's fitting.
And that one hits the zone for strike one. Again, slow strike signal there, coming in slow motion.
I feel like the umpire, he has his own style with the strikes.
Grounder over to second, fielded by Gewurz again. Throws him out at first. The runner will come in on the RBI ground out. 2 down, and Billerica now on the board as they cut Brookline's lead in half. And boy, isn't that just the perfect juxtaposition of the dichotomy of baseball offense? You can have really big swings, like, you know, having a double and then a 2-run triple like Brookline had in the bottom of the first, or you can have a reach on error, a wild pitch, and 2 sacrifice groundouts to get a run across. And all of that, difference of 1 run.
Or another way of thinking about it, that whole thing for Billerica, that's the same thing as a solo home run.
Yeah, a solo home run and 2 strikeouts would have had us in the exact same spot.
Same exact situation. Just great small ball played by Billerica. We've seen Brookline play a lot of small balls that pitches outside.
Excuse me.
This time, Brookline, the team, at least so far, with the big hits. Billerica driving in a runner.
That's why they call it manufacturing runs. There's so many different ways that you can put a run together, so many different pieces you can use to fit that puzzle together. Number 10, the left fielder G. Crisafulli with a 2-1 count as he pops this one up in foul territory, headed right towards us.
Bounces just before us.
You guys might have seen my hand covering the camera there. I was throwing my hands over my equipment like, please, no!
Gotta protect the camera first.
Exactly.
That was something.
Exactly. 2-2 now, the count to Crisafulli. Takes that one high for ball 3.
Now Billerica working Sheehan just a little bit more, working up the pitch count as they've been able to fluster him more from the first inning.
Yeah, Sheehan's control hasn't been quite as sharp as it was in the first. But that one controlled perfectly. Breaking ball right into the zone for strike 3. And that ends the top of the second. Billerica on the board. They cut Brookline's lead in half, but Brookline's still on top, 2-1.
Man, that one just looped in from the inside, cut into the zone. Couldn't have done it any better, Jesse. And Billerica now cuts it to a 2-1 Brookline lead over Billerica. Middle of the second inning about to begin. The bottom of the second, Brookline, the home team here at Warren Field after Jackson Fantuzzi, the third baseman today, drove in 2 runs on a 2-run triple. Then Billerica manufactured a run after an error, a wild pitch, 2 groundouts, and here we are.
And here we are. Thank you for the commentary, Sam, and thanks for helping to fill time a little bit as I blew my nose off mic there. A lot of stuff flowering in the summer.
There's a lot. It's hot.
Yeah, it's not quite as bad as spring when all of the stuff is fresh coming out and there's pollen everywhere, but it's
not nothing.
It's still as opposed to saying it's also nothing to sneeze at. I would say it's something to sneeze at.
Something to sneeze at.
But we move to the bottom of the second of this game. We're going to have Brookline's 8, 9, 10 hitters coming up. Minukin, Hellendrung, and Gewurz. Amenkowitz back on the mound after a shaky start to that first inning, but rebounded nicely and had some good backup from his catcher, Pimentel. We'll see how he handles the bottom of Brookline's lineup here. First to the plate is the catcher, number 0, Max Minukin. First pitch swung on and missed, strike 1. Minukin so far this summer, 3 for 8, 2 doubles, 1 run scored, and 5 RBI.
Well, even at the bottom of the order, he's produced good power for Brookline.
That one inside, ball 1. Yeah, he's been kind of in a platoon spot behind the plate with Danny Carballo. And up until yesterday, he only had 2 hits on the season, but they were both RBI doubles. Takes that one inside, ball 2.
Some hitters all or nothing. When you think about it again, in a very small sample size, but that's the hitter that's at the bottom of your order, it's good for Brookline. Now 2-1 the count.
Indeed.
It looks like.
And another one inside, and that's going to make it a 3-1 hitters count here.
Well, Mankowitz, he's primarily been going to these far and inside pitches off the plate, really pushing Mnookin off of it.
That one is going to hit the zone. Our slow-mo strike signal there gives us a full count.
Pitch almost looked like it slow-moed into the zone, too.
And Mnookin lifts one, loops it perfectly out to right center, and that's going to be a leadoff single for the catcher.
Brookline adding on the pressure to Mankowitz. Mankowitz tried to almost manufacture a strikeout, it looked like. He was kind of cutting around the corners, trying to find the perfect pitch, but fell into place, and now a courtesy runner coming on for Brookline.
Exactly. Since Mnookin is the catcher, you can bring in a substitute runner without it having to be a full substitution like a pinch runner would be. This is what's called a courtesy runner, which is something different, and the runner is going to be number 4, Tony Carballo. At the plate now is the extra hitter, number 2, Bryce Helendrung, as brief pickoff attempt there. Helendrung, so far this season, 2 for 10, a triple, a walk, and 3 runs scored as strike 1 drops into the zone on the breaking ball there.
Well, Helendrung, considering he's only going into freshman year, solid numbers for him.
Indeed. A lot of youngsters, a lot of promising youngsters on this Brookline summer squad, you know, who have a lot of promise in their future careers at their respective high schools. 1-1 the count. That one inside. Catcher goes for the pickoff, and Helendrung dives back safely, but Pimentel continuing to put pressure on the Brookline runners. They've already seen him throw out the fastest runner on their roster. As that's a swing and a miss, and another throw back to first. Oh my gosh, they got him!
That looks safe.
I thought so too, but they're saying he caught the arm with the swipe. And you know what? Whether we agree or not, it does not matter. It is the ump's call, and you got to respect it.
Exactly. We have our replay, but it's an out.
And a bit of a joking look over at us to see if we could provide the replay there. But what happened there is head coach John Busey is asking the infield ump to appeal the call to the home plate ump, see if he saw something different.
Again, the ump's call's the ump's call.
The ump's call's the ump's call, but this is your one tool that you can use if you're a coach is ask for a different point of view from different ump, but they do not win the appeal. The call stands, and so Carballo out at first as Pimentel continuing to have an excellent day behind the plate for Billerica.
Now that's the second time he's thrown a runner out on the bases.
Absolutely.
He's made a huge impact.
And this is yet another full count now to Bryce Helendrung. And not only does it get outs and take runners off the bases, but it limits what runners can do later in the game when they get on base. I guess I had the count wrong. I think now, is it now 3-2? I thought.
We'll see.
That one fouled off.
Won't know for now.
Oh wait, Helendrung was already out.
Helendrung was already out. Wait.
Oh.
Wait, what?
It's Gewurz now at the plate.
Huh? I thought it was still Helendrung.
Ay. I don't know. Maybe the lineup changed and they took Helendrung out of the batting order?
That looks like Eli Gewurz.
It is Eli. That much I know. I know it's Eli Gewurz, and I mean, if he grounds out and the inning's over, we'll know that Helendrung did finish his at-bat. But
it's the mystery of high school baseball.
Oh my gosh, I'm a little in the twilight zone right now, as I'm not entirely sure what the count. if there hadn't been an at-bat that finished before, this at-bat would already be over. So Hellendrung's at-bat finished somewhere in the chaos of the pickoff, and now Eli Gevirtz has drawn a walk. That's his second walk of the summer season. As you see, he was 0 for 8 with 1 walk, 2 runs scored, and an RBI coming into today. Draws the 2-out walk there, and now he's cycled back to the top of the order with the right fielder, number 33, Devin Chin.
That was madness.
That was a little bit of silliness there. And Chin drops one up the first base side, picked up by Amenkowitz, throw to first. Little bit close, but Wilcox able to hold on to the ball despite the slight collision with Chin's body, and he is going to be out, and that ends the second inning.
And Chin lunged out there, a bang-bang play, but a clear out.
1 second, folks. Sorry? Yeah, I can try and pull it up. I think I can, yeah, it's recording right now, so it might be tough for me to pull up, but I'm gonna... Oh, yeah, after the game I could definitely pull it up, but not sure if I'll be able to pull it up in this moment. If we can just... Freaking YouTube.
After will definitely like so.
Yeah, after will definitely be able to show. Wi-Fi's being a little bit pritzy today.
I feel like the combination of the weather makes it a little hard. It's like windy, breezy, plus it's hot, so it's like this.
Yeah, this thing is it's live, and so it's
After the game, though.
yeah. And of course, the Wi-Fi is going on the fritz as I'm trying to check it. That's okay. I'm learning my lesson here. Don't try to do that. As I think I kind of screwed up the connection temporarily there while trying to see if I could check the recording. The infield ump was asking if you could take a look at that pickoff play. That was a very close play. You know, I'm not sure if we'll give him access to it. He'll be able to look at it after the stream is over. But I'm not entirely sure he's going to get the full closure he wants off of that, just because where it tagged him, where the runner was tagged is sort of, behind. It's, between the body of the runner is between the glove and the camera. But the first baseman that made that tag, Wilcox, at the plate here, swinging and missing for strike one as we start the top of the third. Like I said, from our perspective, it looked like he was safe, but, you have to respect the call, and the ump is in the position he's supposed to be in that scenario with a runner on first.
Also, he's closer to the action than us.
Yeah. And that one is a 3-pitch strikeout for Caden Sheehan as Wilcox caught looking there for out number 1.
Sheehan comes right back after a relatively rocky second inning.
Indeed. Gave up the first run to Billerica in that inning, but now facing the 8-9 one-hitters. First was Wilcox, now Vidal at the plate, swinging and missing.
Vidal swinging way early on that pitch. Brookline in their standard fielding position, no aggressive shifts or anything.
High bouncer here could not be fielded by Vankowski, and Vidal is going to reach on the E6.
Well, it did look like Vankowski came a little bit in, which ironically adjusted his position to the ball and allowed it to get right behind him.
Well, that's the thing, is you're supposed to charge, but the thing is he charged a little late, and so he was a step behind the ball, and so when the ball's coming down, his glove is right around where it's bouncing, and that ball can bounce anywhere when you're taking it off the ground at the shoestrings like that, especially on a high bouncer like that. You ideally want to take the ball out of the air on a play like that, but Vankowski just a split second late on his initial charge in to field it, and that was the result. Ooh, I think that one hit him. And indeed, That'll be a hit by pitch for Pimentel. He grounded out to third his first time up. Now gets the free base on the hit by pitch. And now it's 2 runners on with 1 out for Billerica. Potential tying run in scoring position, as it'll once again be pitcher against pitcher with a Amenkowitz at the plate.
The thing with Sheehan is that when he's commanded his pitches, he's had a lot of success. He just has to command them.
First pitch to Amenkowitz misses high and in for ball 1. 1-0 with 2 on. Amenkowitz went down on strikes his last time up. This one skips in the dirt, well covered by Minukin, as of course anything getting by him is going to be a free base for the Billerica runners. Sheehan does a little swivel to keep the runner honest at second.
Billerica continuing to attempt to play some small ball here in the third.
Swing and a miss there as the heat blows by him, strike 1.
That's what Sheehan's going to have to do. Just throw quality strikes and blow his pitches by the hitters.
This one, a grounder through the gap into right field. And the runners are going to hold. They're not going to try and test Devin Chin's arm in right field. They're just going to load the bases. And fun fact, that's the first ball to reach the outfield for the Billerica hitters so far today. As you were talking about that small ball theme that Billerica's been running on.
And that was on a ground ball too.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they haven't hit any line drives or fly balls. It's every ball they've made contact on has been a grounder. Low ball 1 to Buckland. Buckland grounded out to the pitcher his last time up. Now up with the bases loaded and 1 out. That pitch inside ball 2. Sheehan's got to be careful. A free pass here would tie the game. Slices that one foul for strike 1. But then, of course, a double play would put an end to the inning right here, which is why, in this situation, only the corner infielders are pulled in onto the infield grass, while the middle infielders are still staying back to potentially initiate such a double play. A liner going up the middle. This is at least 1 run. Oh, it skipped past Kaufman. This is going to be at least 2 now, might be 3. Amenkowitz rounding third and heading to the plate as the runner's going to third. And he's out at third. Buckland stretching that one out just a smidge too far. He is out, but 3 runs come in on that one. And that is very simply an RBI single plus
a couple extra bases.
Plus a couple bases on the error. And in terms of scorekeeping, you kind of have to make a judgment call. You know, would the runner have gone for it from second if not for the error out in center? And the runner at first definitely would have scored. So that one's definitely a run on an error. The second runner to score is a little harder to judge because sometimes runs score on hits up the middle from second base. The runner on third is absolutely a clean RBI. It's just a matter of what runs are earned and which ones aren't. But we got a low and away ball 1 here to the new batter as Billerica takes the 4-2 lead off the back of the defensive mistake there as Weeks lifts that one into foul territory for strike 1.
Well, man, Jesse, that was a unfortunate play for Brookline after the error, but at the end of it, what a play by Eli Gavertz gunning it to third base. And then Fantuzzi able to apply the tag, so a positive end.
A good use of the pickoff man, or the cutoff man, excuse me.
Positive end to a difficult play.
This one lifted out to right. And a nice catch out and right by Devin Chin for out number 3. Not quite as crazy of a catch as the sprinting, sliding grab he had in Everett yesterday, but a nice grab nonetheless, and that ends the top of the 3rd.
Chin just lunging over. He kind of sort of fell over in a way when he got to the ball at blazing speed of Devin Chin. So important for Brookline on offense and in the outfield, as we saw there.
And
Brookline.
Their offense about to be very important here as Brookline now trailing Billerica for the first time today, 4-2 going into the bottom half of the inning. Menkowitz back on the mound. He'll face the 2-3-4 hitters, Sheehan, Kaufman, and Fantuzzi. So Sheehan and Kaufman, after a tough inning on defense, will have a chance to try and bounce back at the plate. And Fantuzzi, of course, after the big impact he had his last time at the plate, he'll be hoping to replicate it.
I mean, Jesse, we've talked about it, though. Throughout this game, Billerica 4 runs, Brookline 2, but Brookline, their runs came off of a triple. Billerica has not had any hits more than a single in this game, and only 2 hits that left the infield.
Absolutely. In fact, depending on how you score it as a scorekeeper, they've only got 2 hits in their entirety so far, as there's been a couple of fielding errors. But that's why it's so important to have good fielding. You got to be able to execute behind the pitcher, otherwise it doesn't matter how good he's throwing. Ask New York Yankees fans how it feels when your defense lets your pitchers down in a big way on a big stage. If you want to bother a Yankees fan today. Caden Sheehan stepping into the box. First pitch, a big swing and a miss for strike 1.
And with that Yankees thing, Jesse, it's your obligation here in Boston.
It's my obligation. Got to do it.
You have to.
Go Red Sox.
Why not? Go Sox.
That breaking ball, it looks like a breaking ball, might have hung on him a bit as it comes in high for ball 1. Sheehan got a single his last time up, a single to left, and came in to score on Fantuzzi's triple. Hoping to help out his own cause here.
Sheehan's had a good day. A lot of these Brookline hitters have done well as of recently.
And that one is a strike. Strike 2, 1-2 the count.
Almost one of those pitches that it's a strike, but it looks like it's out way left, and it's the optical illusion of the angle that we have.
Sheehan pops this one up. Might be playable for Wilcox. Tracking it. No, it's just over the fence. And Sheehan stays alive at 1-2.
Well, Billerica, their pitching has really settled in after the first inning. Been able to limit Brookline, because the thing about the Brookline Blue,
as this one's lined into left center, as Caden Sheehan picks up his second base hit of the day, albeit rudely interrupting Sam as he was trying to make a point there. What were you saying there, Sam?
Saying that with the exception of that double and the limited action that we've played, Brookline has been really controlled by Billerica, when you really think about it.
Well, we'll see if they can wrestle back control here. Runner at first to start the inning. Now at the plate, center fielder number 8, Max Kaufman. First pitch is high for ball 1. Kaufman had a double to left his last time up. Put runners at second and third, and then he later came in to score on that towering triple by Fantuzzi. Fouls that one to the backstop, strike 1. And Sheehan's taking a sizable jump off of first. I think he's taking advantage of the fact that Kaufman is a lefty hitter, and so it's harder for the catcher to make a pickoff throw to first.
Well, definitely, Jesse. It's going to make it more difficult. Now they're going back down.
Yeah, still got to watch out for the pitcher's pickoff throws as Sheehan dives back to the bag.
And his pickoff throws have been well. There was that Superman dive made early, and now Sheehan taking another big lead.
This one in high, and they try the pickoff throw, and Sheehan Doesn't even slide on that one, just comes back standing up. Wilcox couldn't make the tag there. 2-1 the count to Kaufman.
Well, the catcher for Billerica, he's already made two. He's already thrown out 2 base runners in this game, 1 at first, 1 at second. He's a valuable weapon for them.
3-1 the count to Kaufman. Runner at first, nobody out. And that one's hit on the ground, and it's bobbled by the second baseman. Can't get anybody, as now Brookline able to take advantage of a defensive mistake on Billerica's part.
Well, Sheehan there took a hesitating lead, and then he stopped himself for a second, barely got down to second. If it wasn't for the bobble, he would have been way safe, but it's one of those times where you don't know if they're going to hit the ball in the air or on the ground.
Yeah, no, I think the bobble definitely helped, but that big jump he got towards second, I think also helped, because even if it was a bit of a hesitate, not a full steal, he still had a big jump from first to second.
Still very beneficial.
Now runners at first and second, nobody out. Back up is the third baseman, number 1, Jackson Fantuzzi, as he takes a high ball 1. Fantuzzi showed just how dangerous a hitter he can be as he launched that one out to right. If he does that again, hopefully I'll be able to get a better camera view of it, because it's so tough, because it's like right behind my head is where right field is, as that one is in for a strike. 1-1 the count.
Sort of hard to tell what calls are strikes. It's like the umpire, he has a unique style of doing it.
Yeah.
Some cases, what he calls a strike, it looks like it would be outside or inside, but
that one inside. 2-1. You see him raising his hands slow, and you're like, is this the slow-mo strike, or is this, and he was just showing the count, showing it as 2-1.
I feel like when it's a ball, he shows the count. That's the way to tell.
Ah. That one skips in the dirt, well blocked by Pimentel behind the plate.
No need for a slow-mo count show on that one.
3-1 the count. The runners are held by the catcher's block there.
On second, runner not
big
taking
swing and a miss.
Not taking a big lead there with the catcher's prowess that he's shown in this game. Brookline not taking any chances.
It's a full count now to Fantuzzi. Runners at first and second, nobody out.
We've often seen in the past Brookline be very aggressive on the base paths. That's limited their game a lot.
Indeed, as that one fouled off by Fantuzzi, stays alive. And yeah, when you know the opposing catcher's got a good arm and good instincts, then it can very much limit what you're able to do on the base paths.
Really suffocates them in a way.
That one skips in the dirt, and that'll be ball 4. Fantuzzi gets the free pass down to first, and that loads the bases here for the first baseman, number 16, Noah Klein. Klein, his last time up, popped out on the first pitch he saw. Brookline hoping he can come through with a big swing here with the bases juiced. Tying run at second, go-ahead run at first. Slice the first one, foul off the backstop. Strike 1. Klein, I think the only, Klein and Kaufman, the only players who played against Billerica last year. Klein was 1 for 3, Kaufman 0 for 3 at the plate in that game last year at Billerica.
Also, Klein, one of the few players for Brookline with a sub-300 batting average.
Takes a low ball 1 there. Bit of a slow start for Klein. We know he was a productive hitter, particularly as an on-base guy last year. We'll see what he does here in a big situation. Takes high ball 2. Mankowitz has got to be careful. 2 more balls, and Brookline gets a run in with the bases loaded here.
Also, Brookline with an opportunity to clear the bases, as we saw with Fantuzzi in the first.
That one fouled to the backstop, strike 2.
Seemed that Mankowitz's strengths, they've been his weaknesses. When he's placed his pitches well, he's been able to get effective outs against Brookline, but when he's not locating them well, Brookline's just getting free on bases, free base runners.
That one drops low, briefly gets away, but it was too slow in how it got away, so Sheehan couldn't get a good jump off from third. Smart to stay on that one, and it's another full count. We've seen plenty of those already, and now if this next one misses, Brookline gets a run.
Sheehan took a look at it for a second, but chose not to go.
Klein lifting this one out to right. It's caught. Sheehan will go here on the sacrifice fly, and a run will come in. Sheehan in to score. Kaufman down to third on the sac fly by Noah Klein.
Well, you talked about Noah Klein as a very productive hitter, particularly in the on-base department. That's a perfect example. Brookline, not necessarily small ball there, but still able to manufacture the run and cut the deficit in half.
Hey, a run's a run. Jonathan Liu hits a bouncer over to third, and they're going to go to first. And now they're going to go, no, they're not going to go home, as that is going to bring in the tying run. Jonathan Liu with the ground out to third. A zany play, as at first Kaufman looked like he was afraid to go back to third lest he be caught by the third baseman. But once they threw to first, he broke for home. Wilcox thought about going home, but wasn't able to turn around fast enough, having to step around the runner that was coming into first base. And so Jonathan Liu picks up the RBI groundout, his second straight day with an RBI groundout, as he ties the game at 4.
And on that play, Jonathan Liu bumped into the first baseman a little bit. Sort of an unsung hero on that RBI. Just that little bump made it so even though Liu was out, the first baseman couldn't throw home in Wilcox.
That's another high one. This is a 3-0 count to Vankowski. And yeah, it's another one of those plays where it's like, yeah, you could call interference, but where's the guy supposed to go? Like, the guy's just going to first base. 3-0 the count to Leo Vankowski here. And it's going to be... Oh, that one is in the zone. It was kind of a slow-mo. I think it's a 3-1 count. I'm pretty sure. Swing and a miss there. We got a full count to Vankowski. He went down on strikes his last time up. Now up here with 2 down, and the go-ahead run at second. Slices it foul to stay alive at 3-2.
Leon Vankowski struck out in his first plate appearance earlier in the game for Brookline, but he's looking to get on base or get a hit or something here with 2 outs and Fantuzzi on second.
Gets a piece of that one, stays alive. Vankowski appears to be having a little bit of trouble squaring up with Amenkowicz's pitches. They're not the fastest, but he can put some subtle movement on them, and it's been fooling Vankowski so far. Swing and a miss. Vankowski down on strikes, and that will end the third, but Brookline able to answer back in the bottom half of the inning and tie things up. Our score at the end of 3, Brookline 4, Billerica 4.
Well, Brookline getting 2 runs there in the bottom of the third inning to tie this one up after they were down 4-2 against Billerica here. It's been a back and forth affair. Brookline went up 2-0 after the first inning, then Billerica scored their first run, then the rest of the runs to take a 4-2 lead with after they played some small ball, and then after a big hit off of an air. So it's been a back and forth good game, similar to last year when these two teams played, but it's been more high scoring than that game, which Billerica won. Was a sloppy game, or no, excuse me, not less high scoring, but Jesse comes on.
Yeah, just a quick correction on that one. Last year was not a back and forth game, and it was quite a bad game for Brookline, and they lost 12-3.
That was the game.
Yeah. Very sloppy game for Brookline defensively last year, and they've honestly had a pretty sloppy game defensively so far today, as a lot of runs for Billerica catalyzed by defensive mistakes, but Brookline also showing they can take advantage of defensive mistakes and some small ball play with, the reach on error that they got with Kaufman, as that's a big part of why they were able to tie it up.
And it's really had a back and forth sense to it. Like, this one could go either way. It's going to come down to fundamentals. Who throws the most strikes? That's been a big thing for both teams' pitchers. When they're throwing strikes, they've been successful, but problem is they haven't always been throwing strikes necessarily. Same for the fielders, and Brookline's had a lot of just pure base runners off of walks.
All right, we've got Jamieson, Pellegrino, and Crisafulli coming to the plate for Billerica here in the top half of the 4th inning. Mayfield-Sheehan back on the mound for his 4th inning of work. And they've got some action going in the bullpen. I think that's number 10, Harris Hodgson, warming up. He did warm up in the pen briefly yesterday, but they opted to go with Eli Gevirtz as the reliever yesterday, as he pitched 2 shutout innings of relief, taking over for the winning pitcher of that game, Will Buckles, who went 5 innings. Sheehan trying to finish his 4th inning here, starting off against number 16, Jamieson. That's going to be a high ball 2.
Throw a back got away from the pitcher.
Oops. Hey, at least there's no runners on when that happens.
Thank goodness.
I've seen that happen with runners on. It's chaos.
And in big moments too.
That's going to be a high ball. I believe it is a 3-0 count, unless I'm mistaken. Jamieson grounded out to second his last time up in a sacrifice play that advanced a runner from second to third. And this time he's going to take a 4-pitch walk. So the go-ahead run is on the bases now for Billerica, as up comes the third baseman, number 3, Pellegrino. Pellegrino got the RBI ground out to second his last time up, scored Billerica's first run. And he hits a chopper, goes foul up the third base line, strike 1. Chased that pitch kind of low and could only get a piece of it.
Now, just well located by the pitcher Sheehan, location has been a big thing of importance in the pitching game of this one.
And the location was not great on that one, as it came in over the batter's head for ball 1. Like you said, Sam, there's really been some ebbs and flows to the control of both pitchers that we've seen today.
It's really felt like ebbs and flows for both teams. Had some good moments, some cold moments. It's been back and forth.
That one hit him. Pellegrino with the hit by pitch. That's the second beaned batter for Sheehan today, as he comes out in the 4th struggling to control his stuff. A 4-pitch walk and a hit by pitch. And the catcher, Mnookin, coming out. So is the coach, John Busey. We'll see if they make the call to the bullpen here, or if they are just hoping to settle Sheehan down and maybe buy some more time for their reliever to finish his warm-up throws.
Well, definitely, Jesse. And Sheehan, he's had some good moments, but the thing about him is he's allowed the bases to load. He's just really, when the location hasn't been there, he hasn't been able to adjust. Hit by pitches haven't been great for him, and he's committed to going inside, and I think that's why.
Yeah, it's been a tough game in terms of, in terms of control at points. It's also been a tough game in terms of errors as well. 3 big errors really in the 2nd and 3rd innings really facilitated the runs that were scored. Now at the plate is Crisafulli.
And they opt to go still with Sheehan.
And they opted to go with the bunt. And that'll be strike 1. The runners were taking off. It almost turned into a chaotic play on the bases, but the runners retreat. 0-1 the count. And Sheehan checking on the runner at second. None of the fielders were covering second, so no throw to be made.
And the runner on second, he paused his motion and curved back to come to return to second, but Mnookin did not opt for the throw.
And the next pitch from Sheehan misses outside ball one. Looks like Sheehan was signaling to one of his infielders to cover second for a potential pickoff. Now shows bunt, fouls it off, strike two. And there goes the bunt strategy, as that is 2 strikes. And as we all know, if you foul off a bunt with 2 strikes, you're out. You don't stay alive with a foul ball if you're bunting. And so Chris Afuli going to be forced to swing here with a 1-2 count and runners at first and second. Slices it foul and stays alive. And you see, that's the difference right there. If he had been bunting and sent that one foul, he's already out. But because he was swinging, he gets to keep trying.
At the same time, the bunt still sets up a longer at bat for Billerica. Runner not taking a big lead on second.
Oh, a wild pitch, but a wacky ricochet as that one got way away from everybody. Bounced off the backstop, bounced off the ump, and just landed next to Mnookin as the runners held up in the confusion.
And it hit off the bouncy part of the backstop right in the middle.
Another wild pitch. The runners taking off this time. They try and throw down to second, but it's a relatively weak throw again in the chaos of it. But that's a full count now to Chris Afuli, and now 2 runners in scoring position, and eliminates the possibility of a double play. Sheehan losing control on back-to-back pitches. And 3 straight pitches just missed completely as he walks the bases loaded. 3 straight free passes, no balls put in play yet. And it looks like they're still sticking with Sheehan.
And that's 3 straight off the backstop.
Boy.
Much less behind the catcher.
And now up to bat is the first baseman, number 44, Will Cox. That one comes low in the dirt, kind of overcompensating for all those high wild pitches. Still ball 1.
And Jesse,
the entire infield pulled in on the grass as the bases are loaded with nobody out. That one's going to be strike 1.
And Jesse, it looked like that pitch was going to get away too down low. Mnookin able to compensate to get to it.
Mnookin's job very important here with a runner at third. Will Cox hits a bouncer foul up the third base side. That's strike 2. If Sheehan can get this first out without moving the runners, that would be very big for Brookline, as it would put them in the position to potentially end the rally with a double play.
Brookline in dire need of an out.
And that one fouled off as he swung into it. I think it fouled off his arm and then off the catcher, but because he swung, it's not a hit by pitch. So the count remains 1-2 to Will Cox. He went down on strikes his last time up, and Sheehan would certainly like to do that again here with the bases juiced and nobody out. It's lifted foul out to left field. Count stays 1-2.
One thing that both teams have done really well of, especially Billerica, is work the counts, Jesse. It's been 1-2 for a while now, and even if Wilcox doesn't get anything out of this at-bat, he's further killed the morale of Brookline.
Hits a bouncer, chased down by Vankowski. He's going to go to third for the force out, but the go-ahead run is going to come in on the RBI fielder's choice.
And that's more small ball, Jesse. Played by Billerica in this back and forth affair. They retake the lead 5-4. Little bouncer, and it looked like now it's just the best play to make it out at any base. Bases loaded to flip it.
Oh, 100%. 100% there as Vankowski was forced to chase that one backwards as he was playing in the infield. This one, a bouncer, back to Vankowski, flips to second for one, and they don't go to first. They just get one. Not enough urgency there for the potential double play, as that's going to be another fielder's choice, this time by Vidal, as Wilcox out at second. That's out number 2. Runners now at the corners with 2 down as we cycle back to the top of the order with Pimentel.
Well, for Billerica, even with that out, now runners on the corners, a hit would drive in another run and make this one 6-4.
Indeed. And a pickoff throw to first, very close, but Vidal able to reach his left hand back to the bag.
And the umpire's conviction showed how much of a bang-bang play that was at first base. He's just able to make it back in.
Runner taking off for second. It's a low ball. They throw to third, and that one gets away. A big mistake by the catcher, and that's a free run for Billerica.
Well, that's just an unfortunate play. You hate to see it, and it just happens sometimes. Again, Jesse, we talk about this. You got to live with the bounces, and sometimes you throw down to third, ball gets away, and now Billerica gets their run.
So for those of you scoring at home, that's a stolen base for Vidal, and Crisafulli scores on an E2. As that one hits the inside corner for strike 1 to Pimentel. 1-1 is the count with 2 outs. Billerica now leading Brookline 6-4, and Vidal at second. That one skips away, and that one goes down to third.
And Mnookin trying to make a last-ditch throw, but not in time.
Mnookin's a young player. So he's got time, but he's got to work on that throw. As a catcher, you got to have a stronger arm than that. That one inside for ball 3 as the control struggles continue this inning for Sheehan. But still just 1 out away from stopping the bleeding here. Hits a bouncer, charging in is Vankowski, has it, throw to first in time, and that will end the inning. Vankowski fielding all 3 outs for Brookline in that inning, but Billerica able to take advantage of some free passes, some fielding mistakes, and they small ball their way back into the lead, 6-4.
Bottom of the 4th coming up. Billerica on top of Brookline, 6-4 here in this matchup after some more small ball, Jesse, as you just said. Not a lot of hits per se for Billerica, but
zero
hits.
Zero
hits in that inning.
They went walk, hit by pitch, walk, fielder's choice ground out, fielder's choice ground out, pure ground out.
And that's the importance of good base running.
Yeah.
Even on those ground outs, Billerica with small things. Brookline said a lot of these things too. An example being Jonathan Liu slightly, not interfering per se, but just nudging the first baseman to prevent him from throwing home. Just the little things. And both teams on offense have done them well, better than they have on defense.
And it's also the importance of just getting on base, because that's the thing. Those free passes put you in a position to advance on plays in the field. It forces the fielders to make decisions, to adjust their positioning into suboptimal spots. Because, that's the thing. Those fielders' choice groundouts that advance the runners for Wilcox and Vidal, those are just ordinary groundouts if there aren't runners on base. But putting runners on base changes the situation. So however you can get on base, whether it's a clean base hit, a base on balls, a hit by pitch, a reach on error, whatever it may be, getting on base completely changes the fabric of the situation for both teams, both offense and defense. And that's why it's important, as Billy Beane said in Moneyball, got to get on base.
Exactly. The whole analytics departments of the MLB, that's a huge thing now.
Max Mnookin hits a slow roller, charging across the third baseman. Nice throw to first. Good play by Pellegrino. And a quick 1-pitch out for Billerica.
Well, back to the importance of getting on base. 'Cause as you just said, good on base percentage, that beats a good average. Because unless you're hitting doubles or triples, a hits.
Well, that's where slugging percentage comes in.
Slugging percentage, but just mere average, unless.
Yeah, no, if you charted out like the correlation between a team's percentage of the slash line stats and wins, it'd go slugging percentage first, on base percentage second, batting average last. That's how much those stats correlate with winning in baseball. 1-1 is the count. Helendrung hits a bouncer foul up the third base line. Helendrung went down on strikes his last time up in an at-bat that confused us because we were busy checking on the pickoff call, the close borderline pickoff call at first. That one, no, it is in. We got a slow motion punch out there as Helendrung goes down on strikes for the second time. 2 down here in the bottom of the fourth, and we got a new batter at the plate. Batting in place of Eli Gewurz is number 10, Harris Hodgson, as he takes ball 1. And what this says to me is that Hodgson is probably going to take over for Sheehan on the mound. They move Sheehan to short and Vankowski to second as Hodgson sends one through the right gap.
The sprinklers come on.
The sprinklers come on in the middle of that play, as if this game wasn't already enough of a circus, as Harris Hodgson gets his first base hit in this Lou Tompkins summer season and gets a bit of waterworks to celebrate.
Maybe he hit a certain spot and that triggered the sprinklers.
I have no idea. That was zany.
That's a great mystery.
Runner at first, 2 down. Back to the top of the order with Devin Chin. A throw back to first to check on Hodgson.
Harris Hodgson was warming up in the bullpen last inning for Brookline. Now he goes to second.
A delayed takeoff. Fielder wasn't there, and so the throw comes in wide, and Harris Hodgson brilliantly displaying the delayed takeoff on the steal. Gets to second. I think the count is 0-1 to Devin Chin as he fouls that one off for what I believe is strike 2.
Speaking of stolen bases.
Indeed, Chin the speedster, but also the one who got caught stealing earlier today, as he is 0 for 1 with a walk. Hits a grounder up the third base line. Foul, stays alive with an 0-2 count. That was a signature Devin Chin swing, as he likes to send it to the left side of the infield as a ground ball. And his swing even, he's starting to lean and starting to run up the first base line.
Uses speed to his advantage.
Exactly. Takes that one high. Ball 1. 2 outs. Runner at second. Brookline trails by 2 to Billerica.
Well, there Devin Chin just taking another pitch upstairs. Not a big lead taken at second base also.
Chin fouls this one out of play, staying alive.
They've really worked this pitcher of Billerica. It will probably be his last inning. Again, we cannot confirm or assume, but most likely it would be.
Chin lines one out to left, and that's a fair ball. Hodgson wheeling around third, headed to the plate. This might be close. Hodgson is going to come in standing up as Devin Chin with the RBI hit to left.
And that's perfect heads-up base running from Devin Chin. As the throw comes into home, Chin advances to second, and now Brookline with the tying runner in scoring position here in the fourth.
Indeed. So I think I agree with you on that one. I was trying to figure out whether you score that as a single and an advance on the throw or a double. And I think you're absolutely right, Sam. I think that was a single and an advance on the throw. Hodgson in to score on the RBI hit by Devin Chin. And it looks like we're going to have a pitching change for Billerica here.
Here it is.
Yeah, that's right. You said this was probably going to be the Amenkowicz's last inning, and indeed, 1 out short of finishing it, and taking over on the mound for Amenkowicz is number 3, Pellegrino. So Amenkowitz 1 out short of finishing the requisite 4 innings that a starter must complete in order to get credit for the pitching win. So even though he leaves with his team in the lead, he is not eligible to be the winning pitcher. Mayfield-Sheehan, obviously the pitcher currently on the hook for the loss if Brookline is unable to at least tie this game. If they tie the game and then Sheehan subs out as we expect him to for the 5th inning, then it goes down as a no decision for Mayfield-Sheehan, and the winning and losing pitchers would have to be among the relievers, as both starters would leave with a tie score. But that will depend on what Sheehan himself can do at the plate, as he will be the first batter to face Pellegrino with, like you said, Sam, the tying run in scoring position here.
Such a clutch hit from Chin.
A big hit from Chin, and a big hit from Hodgson, too, as both of those hits coming with 2 down in the inning.
And also can't forget the delayed steal used by Hodgson. Great heads-up base running.
That's right. Mayfield-Sheehan stepping into the box. He is 2 for 2 with 2 singles so far, and Brookline would like him to get a third, as a third single would drive in Chin. First pitch high and away for ball 1.
I feel like this whole game has been Moneyball. When you think about it, a lot of infield singles, advances.
After that explosive, after that explosive first inning that saw Brookline get a double and a triple, no extra base hits since, as that one's going to miss to the outside for ball 2.
But despite no extra base hits, there has been a very fair share of scoring.
Indeed. 2-0 the count to Sheehan. Slices this one foul and out of play. Strike 1.
And on that one, Chin taking, again, a decently modest lead considering his athletic prowess on the base paths.
Well, you don't want to get too risky and risk a pickoff. If a hit goes to the outfield, there's a good chance he's coming in. Check swing grounder. Oh, and it's bobbled by the pitcher. Shortstop charging in, not in time. And Brookline with a lucky bounce there after an unlucky check swing contact. Mayfield-Sheehan reaches on the E1.
And it looked like Devin Chin for a second. He thought about coming home, turned around, spun around his body.
And slipped a bit.
Decided to stay at third, and sometimes it's harder to stay than to go, but the right decision made by him.
First pitch, Max Kaufman lines one off of the second baseman's glove. This game is tied. In comes Chin. Max Kaufman with a clutch swing there.
Max Kaufman, he's been such a great hitter this season for Brookline, regardless whether that goes down as a hit or an E4. A great play by Kaufman. That's just a good line shot from him to tie this one up at 6-6. Runner in scoring position for Brookline.
All square here at 6, with runners at first and second now and 2 down. And now at the plate is the third baseman, number 1, Jackson Fantuzzi. He is 1 for 1 so far today. Oh, that throw sails into center, but because Sheehan had to dive back and the center fielder backed it up well, no advancement on the throwing error. But as I was saying, Fantuzzi today 1 for 1 with a triple, 2 RBI, and a walk. That one misses to the outside. Ball 1. It's so tough. His signal for outside is so similar to his signal for strike.
It looks exactly the same to me.
Oh, I think that one went around. Oh, and that second pitch was strike 2. Okay, so he's Fantuzzi, strike 3.
I'm pretty sure that when he signals that like that, it looks like it's outside.
Yeah, it looked like he was doing the whole hand push to signal that that one was on the outside of the plate.
That's a strike call.
But that was actually a strike call.
And when he calls a ball, either he does nothing or he signals the count. I'm pretty sure.
That's
what it looks like.
We're figuring it out as we go. 4 innings in the books here, and we are tied at 6 apiece, and we are getting a new pitcher on the mound for Brookline. Harris Hodgson now in for Mayfield-Sheehan. He has not pitched prior this summer. This is his first time on the mound for this Brookline Lou Tompkins 18 and under squad. And so we'll see how he handles the 2, 3, 4 hitters for Billerica, Amenkowitz, Buckland, and Weeks.
Brookline and Billerica tied up 6-6 here coming to the top of the 5th inning. The Brookline Blue put up 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th off some more small ball. Max Kaufman hit a line shot, which was either an error. We called it an error.
I mean, I'm borderline. I could go either way on whether you call that a single or an error for Kaufman, because it would have been a really nice catch by the second baseman, but at the same time, it feels like a catch he should have made. It's sort of similar to Eli Gevirtz's error at second back in the first inning, where it's like he was, running away from first base to chase down the ball, had to backhand it. Would have been a difficult play to make, but it still, bounced off his glove. So it's like, is it a single or an error, a judgment call? I'm hoping I'll be able to check out Game Changer for it later tonight, and I'll be able to see the official decision from the scorekeepers there. But in the meantime, Hodgson on the mound for Brookline. Sheehan moving to short like I predicted, and Vankowski moving to second in place of Gewirtz, who Hodgson hit for in the batting order in the bottom of the 4th. First pitch to Amenkowitz is low for ball 1. That one also going to miss low for ball 2. Hodgson in an easier situation than Pellegrino was when he came in the bottom of the 4th, as bases are empty. But he can't waste too much time finding his control as a reliever, as he misses all 3 of his first pitches. A 3-0 hitter's count to Amenkowitz.
This was a similar problem that Sheehan faced.
And it's going to be a 4-pitch walk. And this is a common problem for relievers at this level. You're not a specialist. You're not trained to come in this situation specifically. And as a result, sometimes you come in and you're just missing the plate right from the jump. And so we got a leadoff walk for Amenkowitz. Buckland now at the plate for Billerica. And he skies this one deep out to left center. Kaufman going back. Oh my gosh! Somebody call for it. And they did catch it. Oh my goodness.
Max Kaufman came up with the ball,
and
but
almost
after a
came
collision.
up with a concussion. My goodness, this is why you've got to call for the ball. That was very dangerous between Max Kaufman and Jonathan Liu. Looks like both guys are okay, but you know what? Big teachable moment there. Call for the ball. When it's in the middle, call for it. And Kaufman's, as the center fielder, he's the captain of the outfield. He's got to be vocal. He's got to be screaming at the top of his lungs that he's got it. I might be overreacting a little bit just because that was such a dangerous-looking collision, but still. Pop fly into shallow center, going to drop in front of Kaufman, throw to second, not in time, as Weeks gets the single to center. And it'll be first and second with 1 out here for Billerica.
Billerica, despite catching left center by Kaufman, they get a base runner on after the hit on the next at bat, and now with a runner in scoring position here in a tie game.
First pitch to Jamieson is in there for strike 1. And like you said, Sam, the potential go-ahead run in scoring position here with 1 out and runners at first and second. And that pitch gets away. That one, either a wild pitch or a passed ball. I think I would score that one as a passed ball. And that is really tough for Brookline because that eliminates the potential force out on the lead runners on both of them, and eliminates the possibility of an inning-ending double play. So now the infield comes in. Hard grounder, well fielded by Klein. He's bobbling it, throws to the plate, and he's safe. Slides around the tag. Too much hesitation on the play, and everyone is safe.
On that play, Mnuchin was able to adjust to it, but the runner came in before he could apply the tag behind him. That's just a difficult play, Jesse.
Yeah, that was a difficult play. Klein didn't quite field it as cleanly as he probably wanted to. He was in a good spot to block the hard grounder from Jamieson there. And because Klein kind of hesitated in his decision-making between going for the play at first for the second out and going for the play at home, because of that, he was too late for the play at home and then couldn't make the play at first.
Well, Jesse, if you take a look down at around the second base area, Sheehan, he's the one manning second base on the pickoff attempts. And
well, there's no pickoff.
Well, no pickoff attempts, but if a runner comes in, he's going to be the one. So he's hovering around it.
That one's going to be a high ball 1 to the next batter, Pellegrino, who now, as the relief pitcher, has a lead to work with, as once again Billerica taking the lead courtesy of some defensive miscues for Brookline. 1-1 the count. Fouls that one off, strike 2.
Well, Pellegrino, he has a good swing path, but seems like he's just starting his swing a little bit late with his leg kick, and that's why he fouled off that last pitch and missed the pitch before.
Breaking ball does not break enough. High ball 2.
See, on that pitch, instead of doing a high signal or an outside signal, he did nothing.
Yeah.
He shows the count.
That one hangs high as well.
It's the umpire code.
Full count now to Pellegrino. 1 out, runners at the corners. That one is strike 3. Slow-mo strike call, and now the runner is in between the bags, and they're just going to let him take. Okay, so I think what just happened there, that did not seem planned. That's a kind of play that can be planned. We've seen teams pull it off before, where the runner at first walks to second to distract the defense and let the runner at third go home. That looked more like he thought it was a walk.
Everyone thought it was a walk.
But because it's a slow motion strike, it was strike 3. And so the play was live, the runner was live, and so Hodgson, again, couldn't make a decision as that one bounces off of Mnuchin as the runner holds up. It's a 1-1 count now to Crisafulli, with runners at second and third, as Jamieson did take second in the confusion there. 1-1 the count, 2 down. Comes in low, ball 2.
Well, we've talked about it, the play of the slow walk to second base. We just saw it, but not in a planned way. You don't see that every day.
This one skips away, but the runners hesitate. And, like I've said, if you're a runner and you hesitate, you don't get a good jump on it, usually best not to go. And, that was one where he couldn't immediately tell how far it was going to ricochet away, so he was going to hesitate on a play like that.
100%, but at the same time, with a 3-1 count, even with 2 outs, it's definitely the right decision.
Ball 4, and that's going to load the bases here as Crisafulli draws the free pass. Now coming up, the first baseman, number 44, Wilcox.
Wilcox, a good power hitter for Billerica, a guy you want up here in a situation like this. Only up by 1, Billerica is against Brookline, but they are looking to unload.
Well, Wilcox so far 0 for 2 with a strikeout and an RBI fielder's choice groundout. We haven't really seen much power from him so far, actually.
I haven't seen it, but you can tell by the way he's hitting the ball.
You can tell because he's big. That's the only
That
reason
too.
you're saying
That
that.
too.
Swing and a miss, strike one. One and one, the count, bases loaded, 2 outs, 7-6. Billerica leads, and he does launch one with power, going way back into left field, and that is going to score at least 2, as 2 come in on the RBI double from Wilcox. And boy, you gazed into the crystal ball on that one, Sam. A powerful launch deep to left by Wilcox brings in 2.
He passed the eye test before he even hit the ball, and he just whacked that one out to left field, way beyond the left fielder. He showed the power on that play.
Indeed. And he's going to get a pinch runner in for him here. That's going to be Pellegrino running as a pinch hitter for him, as they're trying to put the pressure on here with Vidal at the plate. Runners at second and third. I think that first pitch was a ball.
And Wilcox, he's not just big, he also swung the ball well there.
He did. And that pitch skips away. Again, the runners hold. That'll be ball 2. Yeah, no, my fault on that was that I saw him give some awkward swings where it looked like he lost his balance on every swing. So I thought, okay, maybe the guy's big and has some muscle, but if he doesn't know how to swing, then it's not going to go anywhere. But that one, he swung perfectly.
But also
made me eat my words.
Sometimes power hitters, they strike out a little bit more, maybe a bit more swing and miss. But when they hit the ball, as we saw with Wilcox, we see this a lot in the MLB.
This one a hard grounder, and Vankowski juggles it, and another run in for Billerica as Vidal reaches on what I would score as an E4.
Well, after the RBI hit, multiple RBI hit double from Wilcox, some more small ball for Billerica. Now they reach double digits, 10-6 over Brookline in a mound visit.
And it's been a tough inning for Hodgson, as Billerica, now with Pimentel coming to the plate, every single Billerica player has now come to the plate in this inning, as we started with Amenkowitz. And I think they might be at least making a call to the bullpen. As, yeah, it looks like Noah Klein is switching out his first baseman's glove, as I think he'll be the one taking over on the mound for Hodgson, as this inning did not work out for him. 2/3 of an inning pitched, but 4 runs allowed. And, I'll calculate later whether, how many of those runs were earned, possibly 3 out of the 4. Tough for him, and now Billerica firmly back in command with their biggest lead of the evening at 4 runs. It's gone from Brookline 2-0 to 2-1 to Billerica 4-2 to tied at 4 to Billerica 6-4 to tied at 6, and now Billerica up 10-6 as Noah Klein making his appearance here. This is his 3rd appearance. He's had 2 previous, one of them a start. Pitched 4 2/3 innings, a 1-1 win-loss record. No earned runs allowed. He's allowed 2 unearned runs. He's got a whip of 0.86 and 6 strikeouts.
Well, Klein, a bit of a slow start at the plate for him this season in the Lou Tompkins League, but not at all a slow start on the mounds. He has been very solid in the 2 games that he's played. Here, Jesse, Brookline need to get back into it, and I think Klein's the guy to finish the inning for them.
Yeah, definitely a point where You know, your guy was losing control of his pitches, and then when the pitches were hitting the strike zone, the opposing hitters were just timing him up every time.
What was interesting with Hodgson was he started out the inning, struggled with command a lot, and then he started to get the command going, but at a certain point, the pitches were right down the middle, and he was getting hit hard with runners on. That's when it's the most difficult, when the combined problem of when the pitches are in the zone, they're getting hit, and you're struggling to hit it.
Yeah, and it was also tough. A lot of his throws were going past his catcher. Granted, the runners only advanced once out of all those ones that got past him, but still. So with runners at the corners and 2 outs here in the top of the 5th, Vidal at first, Pellegrino, the pinch runner, at third. Up comes Pimentel. First pitch is a strike. Vidal takes second unopposed as Klein looked over at him, saw him go, and went, I'm just going to focus on the batter. So second and third now. Breaking ball, hits a hard bouncer up the middle. Diving snag by Vankowski, trying to rebound for the throw. Not in time as Pimentel legs out the RBI infield single.
Unbelievable play by Vankowski. The throw is just a bit late, and great speed from Pimentel. He's a speedster on the bases. Not the level of a guy like Devin Chin for Brookline. It looks like Max Mnuchin's coming over to Busey. Now coming back.
Discussing things for sure. Pimentel showing some good speed for a catcher there.
Great speed for a catcher.
But still, that diving snag by Vankowski might have potentially saved 1 run, as we got a pickoff play between first and second. They're keeping an eye on the runner. Throw into the plate now. Tag is applied, and he is out. Good fundamentals by Brookline as they caught Pimentel on the pickoff. And while he tried to stall him out on the pickle to allow Vidal to go home, Brookline, they know that strategy, they know that play, and they know what they're supposed to do. And they executed on it perfectly. Great throw home by Mayfield-Sheehan while keeping an eye on both runners, and good tag by Mnuchin to finish the inning. But a tough inning for Brookline. 5 runs in for Billerica, and now Brookline has just 3 innings to try and get those 5 runs back. And we'll see how they handle it, as it'll be their 5, 6, 7 hitters, Klein, Liu, and Vankowski.
Well, the interesting thing, Jess, you look at this Billerica team. They lost 7-6 to Everett, a team that Brookline beat decently handily. Now, saying that, you covered them in the last game. That game was close for the most part, and then Brookline, they took the lead comfortably to win it, but goes to show that teams matching up on paper, that doesn't show what's going to happen
Absolutely.
in every given game.
Absolutely. You know, Billerica did get off to a very bad start to the season, losing back-to-back games to Waltham and Billerica. They've rebounded nicely with wins over Belmont, Watertown, and Jamaica Plain, and they're hoping to extend their own winning streak to 3 while ending Brookline's winning streak at 5. But still 3 innings left. We're for Brookline at least, as we're, you know, more than halfway through this game now. And Pellegrino back on the mound in relief after he took over for Amenkowitz last inning. Step into the plate now, the relief pitcher for Brookline, number 16, Noah Klein.
Also, Brookline lost to Billerica in their matchup last year. Again, different faces on both sides, very different teams, but that being said,
hard hit grounder by Klein, and it gets past the shortstop into left. Would have been a tough long throw to make, but no contest there as Klein reaches on the E6.
And Jesse, also in this game, the fielding has not been as crisp as normal for Brookline and the opponents that they have faced.
Jonathan Liu hits a hard bouncer back over to short, fielded cleanly this time, throws to second. He's safe. Wow.
That's a close play.
We've had a couple of close calls at the bags, and now both sides being the beneficiaries. Billerica trying to appeal to the home plate umpire.
That one from over here looked like it was out, but again, the umpire's call, they have the best look at it.
It was a close play. It looked like the ump was starting to signal safe even before the throw got in. So that one very close. I think that was ball one to Vankowski there, as Liu reaches on an everybody's safe fielder's choice. Leo Vankowski at the plate. Big swing and a miss there, strike one.
Well, another interesting thing in this game is that both sides, they've really played even to each other. When Brookline scores 2, Billerica scores 2. And when one team scores a couple, the other scores, really generally it's been the same amount. It's been even. We shall see if Brookline...
There has been runs scored by one team or another in every half inning since the top of the third.
What I'm curious about is if Brookline's going to put up a big number in this inning after Billerica did. That's been the theme.
Brief pause as that last foul ball went off a face mask. 1-2 is the count to Vankowski. Liu at first, Klein at second.
Went off the ump.
That pitch misses high and away, ball 2.
That one went off the umpire. Brief pause, and Brookline not taking any aggressive leads or anything of that sort on second.
That one coming in around the back of Vankowski. Pimentel briefly lost sight of it, although I don't think that's Pimentel at catcher anymore. I think they subbed the catcher.
Looked like somebody else.
Yeah. I think it might be, it's not Wilcox, is it?
His red hair.
That one comes in low, gets away. It was ball 4 anyhow, as Vankowski, who was 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts, now gets to first for the first time with a walk. And the tying run is now on deck, unbelievably, after that huge rally that Billerica had in the top half of the inning.
That's been the thing. This game has been very back and forth. Both sides have gotten their chances at the plate. Now Max Mnookin.
First pitch to Mnookin is high for ball 1. The catcher, Mnookin, his last time up, grounded up to third to lead off the 4th inning. Before that, got a single, but his courtesy runner was picked off. That one catches the high corner for strike 1. 1-1 the count. So he's 1 for 2 so far today. Bases juiced, nobody out. Takes that one high for ball 2.
Well, Mnookin's faced a lot of pitches high and inside. He's been forced off the plate now multiple times in this game.
That one is in the high inside corner for strike 2. It's a 2-2 count as Pellegrino's been living in that high inside corner for most of this at bat.
And Max Mnookin, that's been a place they've been able to target him, to push him off the plate, even when it's a strike.
And they push him off the plate there for ball 3. It's a full count now to Mnookin. Bases full, count full. And that one in there for strike 3. Mnookin, you could tell, frustrated at himself for taking strike 3 there. And that'll be the first out of the inning, as I believe now it's Helendrung up to bat. He is 0 for 2 so far today, as he takes a high ball 1 there.
Well, as you were saying, Jesse, the pitcher for Billerica targeting high and inside to push these Brookline hitters off the plate.
This one golfed up in the air, staying in the infield. And they might have called for an infield fly rule anyway with the bases loaded. Brookline now 2 outs as they're on the verge of wasting a huge opportunity here. And it'll be up to Hodgson, who is now the first baseman after temporarily being the relief pitcher. Takes that ball high for ball 1.
Way up and in, or way up and out, rather.
Yeah, Hodgson now a lefty, so opposite sides for inside and outside. Hodgson, his last time up, got a single, stole second, and came in to score. Hits a bouncer over to second, fielded cleanly, thrown to first. Brookline, despite loading the bases with nobody out, cannot get anything on the board. And at the end of 5, the score, Billerica 11, Brookline 6.
Man, that's a killer for Brookline. They had an opportunity to really get back into this game, Jesse, but unfortunately for them, no runs across, and that's been the first time in a while that Brookline hasn't even scored a single run in an inning.
First time since the second inning, in fact, the second inning prior to this was the only inning where they did not score a run.
Both teams have been very consistent in their offensive outputs. Billerica with the biggest inning of this game, 5 runs put up in one inning. They also had 3 runs in another one.
Meanwhile, Brookline has put up 2 runs in 3 separate innings in the first, the third, and the fourth. But Billerica, like you said, they've had the biggest innings so far. 5 runs in the 5th. They also had 3 runs in the 3rd. Yeah, they got 1 in the 2nd, 3 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, and 5 in the 5th. Meanwhile, Brookline got 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 3rd, and 2 in the 4th.
It was back and forth, and now Billerica's on the front foot.
Yep, it was almost back and forth again as Brookline got runners on, but left them all stranded. You know, it's tough when you get a big situation like that, and it's the bottom of your order coming up, and unfortunately nobody was able to step up in that big situation.
Most definitely, Jesse.
Klein back on the mound after coming in as a reliever at the end of the 5th inning. The only out credited to Klein as a pitcher was actually on a caught stealing. And so Amenkowitz is going to come back up to the plate as his plate appearance did not finish. And so it'll be Amenkowitz, Buckland, and Weeks due up. First pitch, big swing and a miss, strike 1.
Klein going to the low and outside fastball. Not the hardest pitch from Klein, but well located, and that's been a struggle for the previous pitchers on both teams, so good to see from Klein.
That one fouled to the backstop, strike 2.
That one again, well located inside pitch, Jesse. Klein able to move his pitches around the zone, and that's very beneficial to him.
Breaking ball does not break enough, comes in high for ball 1. And yeah, Klein has got himself a lot of pitching experience over the past year or so, as this one is skied into shallow right center. And Kaufman calls for it, and you could hear them shouting on that one. They're not looking for any collisions again, as Kaufman comes up with that one for out number 1.
You could see
3 different guys were racing for that one. Uh-oh.
Bug was on him.
Yep. Looks like one of those kind of bugs with a stinger, so it was a bit of a situation, but we're okay now.
Big stinger, but It's all fine now.
Yeah. Now Buckland at the plate. So that one's going to miss. 1-1 the count, as I think I missed the first pitch while we were dealing with that bug. That one missing to the outside, ball 2. 1 out, bases empty here in the top of the 6th.
On that play from Max Kaufman, you could hear another one of the players tell him to call for it, say call for it. And Kaufman called for it, and Brookline got the first out.
Yeah, because they had 3 different players out of Chin out of right field, Kaufman out of center, and Vankowski, the second baseman, were all chasing that ball. Breaking ball beautifully executed to the inside corner by Klein, and that'll be strike 3.
There's a great location from Klein as he's able to rev it into the strike zone on a changeup. Beautifully done.
2 down now. Up comes Weeks. And that one is going to miss to the low and away. Ball 1. That one also comes in low, ball 2. As the sun's going down, more bugs starting to come out as Weeks skies this one deep out to right center, and Kaufman has got it for out number 3. And you're right, Sam, I could hear Devin Chin screaming out, call, call.
Call it, call it.
Yeah.
And it worked out. Devin Chin, a veteran presence
Exactly.
for Brookline's Lou Tompkins team. For Brookline's teams in general, the Brookline Warriors, this team, all the Brookline squads.
Yeah, and this, I'm pretty sure, is going to be his last season playing Brookline baseball. Obviously, he graduated from Brookline High this spring, and with this being an 18 and under league, you know, unless you've got a weird situation like with Keenan Sawada where his birthday is late enough in the year that he was able to fit under the age requirements to play in this league one more time this summer. Unless you've got a situation like that, then this is the last summer. This is the last season, last baseball season. We're going to see Devin Chin play in a Brookline uniform.
Definitely, and Devin Chin's had a great career with Brookline as a whole. For the high school team, got a lot more playing time this season than he had in the past. Great speedster for the Warriors and for this Lou Tompkins League team.
Absolutely, and he'll be leading off this bottom of the 6th inning against Pellegrino, as it'll be him, Sheehan, and Kaufman due up here in the bottom of the 6th. Brookline's still got 2 innings left to potentially try and come back into this one, but it's a long road as they still trail by 5.
He's the kind of guy you want leading off. The main leadoff hitter, the number 1 hole hitter for Brookline, as he will lead off this one. Chin, Sheehan, and then Kaufman here in the bottom of the 6th.
First pitch, high and in for ball 1.
Chin, good eye on that pitch. So you kind of feel a settled-in feeling to this game.
Tries the bunt and fouls it off, strike 1. Chin 1 for 2 so far today, with an RBI single, a walk, and a ground out. Also scored once. And he lifts this one out to left, and it drops in front of the left fielder. And Devin Chin has his 2nd hit of the day and a leadoff single.
Well, Devin Chin, as you said it, Jesse, he puts his swing track towards the opposite field, so fielders will have less time to gun it to first to get him out. He plays it strategically, and he's really come into his own with that swing.
Absolutely. Caden Sheehan now at the plate. First pitch, and he hits a shot over short past the shortstop. And 2 runners on very quickly for Brookline as Sheehan reaches on the E6.
And Sheehan, he's had a good day for Brookline. Again, an error, but still on base percentage is what's important.
Yeah, well, your
Doesn't
on base
technically count.
defensive errors don't give you a higher on base percentage, but if
On
they
base
did,
for the
if they did, he would be having a 1,000 right now as he has singled twice and reached on an error twice.
And again, you have all the stats, but in the game, if you get on due to an error,
still counts the same.
Still a hit.
Yeah.
Still a hit in the game. The stat books only mean so much. And Brookline now, Jesse, in a similar situation that they were in the last inning, first and second with no outs. Brookline had bases loaded, no outs in the bottom of the 5th.
Yes. Max Kaufman at the plate with a 1-1 count. Sheehan at first, Chin at second. That one in the zone. Strike 2. I believe 1-2 is now the count.
Max Kaufman, he's had a good day in the field. He had that scary play, but it was an impressive catch from him.
Honestly, it's been one of his rougher days in the field because he also had that error.
Oh yeah,
that
forgot about
past
that.
Him.
That was a rough play for him and for Brookline.
He's also shown some explosiveness at the plate. Had the double back in the first inning.
It's really been up and down, back and forth. That's
just like the game.
Just like the game, exactly. It's the theme of the game.
And just like the theme of the game, it's another full count.
So many full counts.
So many full counts. Hits a chopper, fielded by the pitcher, throws to first. Works effectively like a sacrifice bunt. First out, both runners advance.
Exactly, 100% Jesse, and sacrifice bunt works out. With now Jackson Fantuzzi, a power hitter, coming up to the plate. And Fantuzzi, good pop in his bat, plays third base today. And he'll have an opportunity to drive in 2 runners in scoring position for Brookline.
Fantuzzi 1 for 2 so far today with a 2-run triple, a walk, and a strikeout. Takes that one inside, ball 1. Chin at third, Sheehan at second. Brookline hoping to put a dent in this sizable Billerica lead. Fantuzzi slices it out of play, and that'll be strike 1.
Well, Jesse, we've had a couple of those out of plays that have came over to us, and it reminds me of a moment. It was my first ever hockey game. The puck came by, it almost hit us. Right in the face, up to the press box, and that was one of the moments I will never forget.
One of your first ones, but it wasn't your first one.
I thought it was my first.
No, I don't think. No, it wasn't.
Wasn't it the Jack O'Connor game? He made like 30 saves.
Well, he made 50
that's
saves.
The ball. 50.
That was, and it is 2-1. But that game, we were all the way up there. Puck did not come near us. That can't happen at Walter Brown. You're thinking of the bean pot, the junior
that
bean
was the
pot.
bean pot.
That was like your second or third game, and I think the count is 3-1 now, as he was showing the count on that one.
It's helpful. Helpful ump.
That one in the zone, strike 2, full count again.
So yet another full count.
Yet another one.
Good opportunity for Fantuzzi.
And a defensive swing there keeps him alive as he fouls it off the backstop.
Jackson Fantuzzi's been in really the Boston Prime Bandit system for a good amount of time now. One of those guys who's a sizable, stable bat in the order for Brookline.
And that's going to be a low ball 4. Tried to get the fastball by him, but came out of his hand late. And this loads the bases now for Noah Klein.
Now the second straight inning, Jesse, that Brookline has had bases loaded, this time with 1 out rather than 0 outs.
Let's see if they can have a little bit of better fortune here. Noah Klein, who led off last inning, reached on an E6, fouls off the first pitch, strike 1.
And again, it really doesn't serve or really do a guy like Noah Klein justice. Those errors, they technically count against his batting average. You see it as pretty low, but he's always been a good on-base guy, even with a relatively slower start to the season.
That one misses. Ball 1, 1-1 the count. And Klein, he has come up big for the offense at different points as he hits a bouncer here past the second baseman. 1 run in. Sheehan rounding third, coming to the plate. 2 runs in as Noah Klein reaches on the E4.
So you can hear the crowd get hyped up here in the Brookline dugout. 11-8 Billerica on top, and the Brookline Blue inching closer here in the bottom of the 6th. Great hit from Noah Klein.
The tying run is now at the plate, and it's represented by the left fielder, number 5, Jonathan Liu, as that pitch is going to skip away, and all the runners will advance. Fantuzzi to third, Klein to second on the wild pitch, and it's a 1-0 count now to Liu.
Now Liu, the tying runner at the plate. If you were to drive in, the runners on second and third would only be a 1-run game. We talked about how this game has been back and forth. It's a chance for Brookline to do exactly that.
Liu takes strike 1 there. Slices that one foul for strike 2. Liu so far 0 for 2 with a walk, an RBI ground out, and a fielder's choice where everyone reached safely.
That's an example of a guy that, even when the stat line doesn't show out, he still had a good game.
But not the best contact on that one as he pops out and can't move the runners. 2 down now. Brookline still with a chance to put a dent in things, but it's going to be up to the second baseman, number 18, Leo Vankoski.
Well, Vankoski struggled a bit in this game, the last couple at-bats that he has had. He got off to a hot start.
You got that backwards. He struck out his first 2 times at bat. His last time up, he walked.
Oh.
Now, he had a hot game.
Excuse me.
Yeah, he had a hot game yesterday. Yesterday, he went 3 for 3 with a walk, a run scored, and 2 ribbies.
I was saying he had a good start to the season, but he struggled today.
Oh, okay. We got a pinch runner coming in for Klein. Tony Carballo now at second as Vankoski lifts one into shallow center. 1 run in. Carballo wheeling around, headed for the plate. The throw goes wild. And 2 runs are in for Brookline. Leo Vankoski coming through clutch.
Well, he's hot now, Jesse. A 1-run game. Leo Vankoski, 2 RBI double to make it 11-10 Billerica. And when Brookline needed him most, he delivers. This time they take advantage of the bases loaded situation.
And now with the tying run at second and 2 down, up comes the catcher, number 0, Max Minukin. Takes a high ball 1. Minukin went down on strikes last inning as that started the 3 straight outs that did not move the runners with the bases loaded. So you know Minukin wants to bounce back big here as that one's going to skip away, and Vankoski takes third on the wild pitch. And a really big situation now because even if Minukin doesn't get a big hit, if one more pitch gets away, Vankoski could potentially score and tie this game.
Vankoski, a speedy player, taking a relatively big lead.
That one blocked well by the catcher, but it's now a 3-0 hitters count for Minukin. And that one skips away. Vankoski started to take off, but stops and retreats.
He went about halfway there and then turned around. That was Danny Carballo at the plate, not Max Minukin.
You're right. Goodness. So they subbed in, and honestly, their walk specialist, as Carballo has more walks than at bats this summer. He actually leads the team in walks. This is looks like it's going to be the end of the day for the pitcher. So Danny Carballo, I didn't get a chance to show his stats before. Before that at bat there, he was 1 for 6 with 6 walks, a run scored, and 3 RBI. So now he's 1 for 6 with 7 walks, which leads the team to go along with 1 run and 3 RBI.
1 for 6. That's
about
8 for 13.
8 for 13.
8 for 13 on base.
Wait, no, 8 for 14. Yeah, so that's the thing. His batting average is sub 200. His on-base percentage is over 500. You know, again, small sample size gets you wacky stuff, but you never know what you're going to get. But what we are going to get is number 7, Pimentel, taking over on the mound. That explains why they subbed out the catcher. He's going to take over for Pellegrino. And so the 2 runners on base are still credited to Pellegrino, including Vankowski at third and Danny Carballo at first. And we'll see if they decide to pinch hit someone for Helendrung. I think they will. I think I see Tony Carballo, number 4, warming up with the bat in his hands, but I'm not sure. It's always so tough with the righties.
Billerica on top of Brookline, 11-10. This game was 11-6. Billerica at the beginning of the bottom of the 6th. Brookline have scored 4 runs in this one. In the last inning, they had a bases loaded, no out situation, did not drive any runs. But in this inning, they have been able to take advantage much better for them.
And it is going to be a pinch hitter, number 4, Tony Carballo. He was the pinch runner for Klein, and a pickoff throw got away. Brookline's going to tie the game. In comes Vankowski. Carballo trying to stretch it down to third, and the throw gets away again. Carballo getting up and stopping.
Unreal, Jesse.
Oh, my stars. I was just announcing that Tony Carballo was pinch hitting for Bryce Helendrung. And then just like that, a pickoff attempt goes wild. Vankowski in to score on the E1. And Carballo goes all the way down to third on the E1. Would you believe we are tied, folks? Brookline, they loaded the bases and could not score a run. This inning, they've scored 5.
Boy, Jesse, this is incredible. This game, Jesse, you talked about it. It's back and forth, and Brookline's proved exactly that here in this one.
1-2, the count to Carballo with his brother at third. And that one in there for strike 3. So Brookline taking advantage of some big hits and some big defensive mistakes, much as Billerica had done to them previously. This game, after 6 innings, is tied at 11. And I'm going to now take a moment for a local charity spotlight. I'm going to talk to you about the Brookline Food Pantry. The Brookline Food Pantry provides groceries to Brookline residents in need of food assistance. The pantry has been serving an average of 650 households each week, more than 4 times the average of 650 households each week, and that's more than 4 times the rate of families that they served back in the 2010s. This decade has been a big boost, and so they are always looking for more people willing to lend a hand and make that number even bigger, whether that be through monetary donations, direct food donations, or volunteers in the pantry. Food donations can be made at United Parish at 210 Harvard Street in Coolidge Corner on Wednesdays and Fridays from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Monetary donations can be made online at the Food Pantry's website, brooklinefoodpantry.org. Go online or call 617-800-5339 for more information about how you can volunteer with the pantry and help feed your community. Once again, that's brooklinefoodpantry.org or call 617-800-5339. And all that information is in the description section down below. And boy, just think, Sam, if that throw down to third that briefly got away had gone even further, Danny Carballo might have come in to score and given Brookline the lead after all that. But now we're actually in a situation where we could see the game-winning run scored in the final inning of a game. And when one team scores 11 runs, you don't expect it to be this tight. It's funny. I remember we were joking before this game.
23-21.
Yeah, we were like, can you imagine if both teams scored that many runs? Well, it's halfway there now. Noah Klein back on the hill for the 7th and final inning of regulation.
It's as close as it is to away.
As that first pitch drops in the zone for strike one, Jamieson at the plate for Billerica, as it'll be Jamieson, Pellegrino, and Crisafulli. That one drops low. Ball one. Slices that one foul and out of play. Strike two.
And also, if neither team scores or it's still tied, we could see extra innings here.
We could see a game called due to darkness.
Darkness, too.
Jamieson so far 0 for 2 with a walk and a fielder's choice where everyone reached safely. That one...
He signaled the count.
Oh, yeah, signaled ball. Yep.
He signaled the count.
You're right. I saw him holding up two fingers. I forgot it was a two-strike count, so I was like, wait, what?
It's hard to tell.
Fouls that one off. Count remains 2-2.
Another long at-bat. Relatively short compared to a lot of the 3-2 counts.
Well, it's not over.
That we've seen, but not over yet.
That's true. Hits a bouncer over to first. Fielded clean by Hodgson. Flips to Klein, who tags the bag for out number one. And in a game where we've seen a lot of fielding struggles on both sides, that was good defensive fundamentals. Pitcher immediately went over to cover first, and the first baseman handled it well.
I feel like Noah Klein, it looked like he was a bit uneasy coming over to first there, but he was able to get there for the out.
Yeah, it looks like he jumped to there without hesitation is what it looks like to me, but
then for a second,
definitely not the fastest runner, so it might look a little slower than normal, even though he got a good break on it.
Must have been it.
Now at the plate is Pellegrino as he takes ball one around his shoelaces. Now slices this one foul for strike one.
Pellegrino just sending it back there. He's had game with an RBI and more.
Yes, 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch, had an RBI ground out. Slices this one foul, strike two.
Pellegrino, a solid performance on the day and night now as darkness slowly but surely approaches, just slowly.
Yes, with how long this game has been, with how high scoring it's been, there's a real possibility that this game could get called if if someone doesn't take a lead. Swing and a miss, strike three.
Well, you think about it, the last game we did together, the game where Buckles pitched so incredibly, that game would have been well over. Flew by an hour, 20-minute game.
Yeah.
This one's over 2 hours. We're approaching the 2 hour, 20-minute mark, almost there by a minute.
Yeah, you're right. And now at the plate is Crisafulli.
And still not done.
First pitch in the zone, strike one.
Oh,
yeah, it's getting to the point where I'm starting to look at my camera battery being like, do I need to switch that out? That one gonna miss, slowing away, ball one.
Feels like one of those volleyball games when it goes to
I
the
was
fifth
thinking
set.
of that one where I had to switch out the battery because it went so long. Crisafulli 0 for 1 with a strikeout and 2 walks so far. That one misses, ball two.
Good eye from Crisafulli. As we've talked about so much on this broadcast time and time again, the importance of getting on base.
And that one skips in the dirt for ball three. Crisafulli on the verge of getting on base for the third time today. He's already walked twice. And that's going to be a third walk for Crisafulli as low ball four.
Another
gets
one
him
down
over to
low.
first.
That's his third appearance where he's gotten on base.
Indeed. And now coming up
Got the power hitter.
is Wilcox. And indeed, he had the power shot to left for a 2-run double. And his pinch runner later scored as we got a pickoff throw. Klein is a lefty, so he can make those quicker throws over to first.
Wilcox, he has the muscle, but he also does have a very nice swing, which he showed on the double that he hit past the fielder in left.
He is 1 for 3 so far today. Struck out, grounded into a fielder's choice, and hit that big 2-run double to left as he takes a high ball 1 there.
Seemed that the rhythm of this game, Billerica has done something, and Brookline's shot back every single time, ever since Billerica has taken the lead.
That one is going to miss, ball 2. Catcher thought about it. I'm not sure if I think the catcher might now be Danny Carballo. Might have subbed in the field before he took Mnookin's spot at the plate. Hard to tell with the catcher's equipment what the jersey numbers are.
I think Max Mnookin has slightly different catcher's equipment.
Well, your eyes are younger than mine, and you're not the one wearing the bifocals here, so I'll take your word.
It's 2020, I think 2015 vision.
Goodness. Mine without my corrective lenses, last I checked, was 2200.
2200? Yeah, I think I got 2020 last time, 2015 the time before. Didn't do the best on the eye test last time.
Oh no, you only got 2020.
Only 2020.
What a horrible choke job. 3-1 the count to Wilcox. Another pickoff throw.
The pitcher, he's been going over to first base quite a bit here. Again, no pickoff limit, so
yeah,
as many times as he wants. Runner taking good lead off of first.
And that one just catches the outside corner for strike 2. Wilcox thought he had ball 4.
Barely called a strike. Up and away there to Cox. Big strike zone.
Full count here with 2 outs and a runner at first. Swing and a miss. Huge strikeout from Noah Klein to end the top half of the inning. And now, after all this, if Brookline, with their 10-1-2 hitters coming to the plate, if they can get 1 run in, they win this ball game. Let's see what they have for us. Due up is Hodgson, and then Chin and Sheehan.
It would be a further morale boost and momentum boost for Brookline if they were to win this game. This is the first time they faced adversity in a long while, Jesse. That 5-game winning streak, pretty much all those wins were handily won.
Yes.
If they were to win a game like this, because not every game is going to go your way, all the bounces are going to be in your favor, but Brookline can pull through and take this one. That would be an incredible win for them.
Absolutely.
It would be immaculate if they were to pull it out. Down 11-6 after stranding the bases loaded with no outs. Then the following inning putting up 5 runs to tie it, and now the chance for a walk-off hit. Walk-off RBI, we should say, with the amount of errors, walks, and miscellaneous
that's true. Not necessarily a walk-off RBI.
Does not have to be a hit or an RBI. Even.
Yeah,
you said
absolutely.
It right.
And we'll see how that goes. And, you know, we've talked about Moneyball a couple of times. It makes me think of that Moneyball record-breaking game, their 20th straight win, where they went up by double digits against the Royals, then squandered that entire lead, and then Scott Hatteberg, as a pinch hitter, got the walk-off home run to win it, something like 12-11 or something. At the plate here is number 10, the first baseman, Harris Hodgson. He takes a high ball 1. That pitch in the zone, strike 1. Hodgson, his last time up, grounded out to end the 5th inning. Takes a high ball 2 there. He got his first hit of the summer earlier this game and then came in to score on an RBI hit by Devin Chin. So he's already made a mark on the scoreboard for Brookline. but they'd certainly like him to make a mark here. That one catches the high corner, strike 2.
Pitcher going to the high and inside and outside fastballs. It hasn't really mattered where in the strike zone, but that one's fouled off by Hodgson. Hodgson.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful of a name, but
wouldn't say too much, just a long day.
it's not. Yeah, it can just occasionally be a tongue twister if you're not ready for it. That one missing just outside, and Hodgson has battled his way to a full count.
Another full count.
Skies, this one might be playable. Wilcox trying to track it, but it floats over the backstop, and Hodgson stays alive.
Well, now we're getting into crunch time of this game. Brookline and Billerica 11-11, bottom of the 7th inning. Again, the final inning of high school baseball. They play 7 innings instead of 9, rather than 9.
Indeed. So if this one is still tied after this half inning, we're going to extras as Hodgson goes down on strikes.
Strikeout from the pitcher for Billerica. And that one just got behind Hodgson, but now top of the order for Brookline.
Indeed.
And their leadoff man, Devin Chin.
Chin's had himself a pretty productive day at the plate so far. Shows bunt, pulls back in the zone, strike 1.
Devin Chin, if there's anyone to bunt for your team, he is the guy with his blazing speed. Uncanny.
Swing there, but a delayed swing and mistimed it. Strike 2. The breaking balls from the pitcher, Pimentel, fooling him so far. That one drops low. A good watch by Chin. 1-2 the count.
You can always almost sense that Brookline's been playing a little tense.
Chin lifts one into shallow center. Just barely out of reach for Buckland, the shortstop, who gave it a chase. And the winning run is now on the bases for Brookline with their fastest runner.
A very speedy runner in Chin. Devin Chin on that play just looped it out. Does what he does best. This one not even to the opposite field or anything. Just barely beyond the second baseman, perfectly placed.
3 straight singles now for Chin today, 3 for 4 as he takes off on the first pitch, racing down, slides in, and he's safe.
Another bang-bang play, Jesse.
Another bang-bang play, but like I said, the first one had to be perfect. This one just ever so less than perfect as the throw came in high, and so the shortstop had to do more work to get the tag down. And now the winning run in scoring position for Brookline. A single to the outfield could end the game. That pitch low.
Single to the outfield or an error or really anything.
So it's a 1-1 count. Well, an error might get you 1 base, but a single could get you 2.
True. And this is a case where a single does come in handy
but
much more.
A fielding error on a batted ball, you're right. A fielding error on a batted ball could also do it. Sheehan launches one out to center field. It's going to be caught, and Chin is going to hold at second.
He hit that almost too well. Smoked it to center field. The center fielder came over to the right side and was able to make the catch. 2 outs now with Chin in scoring position. Last chance in the bottom of the 7th for Brookline.
And
Max
taking
Kaufman.
And taking that last chance will be Max Kaufman. Ball skips. Chin's taking off. It was well blocked. And a throw got away! Devin Chin does it himself! And Brookline wins!
Who else but Devin Chin?
The walk-off, wild pitch and throwing error combination, and the speedster Devin Chin coming all the way around.
And Jesse, isn't that so fitting for this game, the way it's played out? Devin Chin coming around, he steals third, the ball gets away, and he comes home.
And it wasn't even straight up a steal. It was a wild pitch. It bounced off the catcher. Chin was being aggressive, went down to third. It didn't, bounce away as much as a normal wild pitch, but that worked out in Brookline's favor because it gave the catcher a chance to throw it and a chance, as it turned out, to sail it into left field. as Chin popped right up and sprinted home. And boy, we talked about didn't have to be a hit, didn't have to be an RBI.
Exactly. Moneyball victory for Brookline.
Winning it on honestly not even Moneyball. Moneyball doesn't like stolen bases.
Doesn't like stolen bases, but
Chin
Devin
with the
Chin's-
aggressive, that was
he's an anomaly.
small ball. That was a
Small ball.
small ball win is what that was. Devin Chin going all the way around the bases on his own. A single, a steal, a wild pitch, and a throwing error. He did it all on his own this inning and wins it for Brookline. What a game. Our final score here at Warren Field, Brookline 12, Billerica 11. An electric game that saw it go from 2-0 Brookline to 2-1 to 4-2 Billerica to 4-4 to 6-4 Billerica to 6-6 to 11-6 Billerica to 11-11 and then 12-1 Brookline.
It went all over the place.
Brookline got the first and last lead of the game.
And that's a lesson in its own right. Brookline, they trailed for most of this game. They were playing catch-up behind Billerica. Also being the home team played to their favor, but who else but Devin Chin coming around to score to win it for them.
Brookline comes back from 3 separate multi-run deficits, 2 two-run deficits and a 5-run deficit, and then in the bottom of the 7th, they get it done in walk-off fashion. Devin Chin, the hero of the hour.
The triple comeback for Brookline.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us here at Warren Field. Sam Lowenstein, once again, thank you so much for joining me for this one. I hope we'll have a chance to work on together on some more games before this summer baseball season ends. And thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. Remember, if you liked this live stream, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you to all those who brought the good vibes in the live chat today. If you have anything you'd like to say after the live stream is concluded, you can say it in the comment section down below. You can also go down below to the description section of the video where you can find the link and phone number for our local charity spotlight, the Brookline Food Pantry. You can also find some information relating to me that you can also see in the bottom right corner of your screen. My personal website, jessesports.com, where you can find out more about me, the freelance sports broadcasting services that I provide to various teams, and how you can commission those services for your favorite team. Also, if you want to just skip past that, you can contact me directly via my email for any questions, requests, or comments you may have. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, where I post highlights from previous live streams. But for this live stream, that's going to do it. Brookline 12, Billerica 11, Devin Chin with the walk-off base running excellence from Warren Field in Brookline, Massachusetts, alongside Sam Lowenstein. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night.